Welcome back to Phoenix Wright Great 8th Century Chronicles. I had to end early last night due to unforeseen circumstances, but we'll continue back from where we left off, which is probably just before we go back to trial. Not been here yet. The 2nd of November. Furrow Street. Literally nothing. I pretty much ended as soon as you left because something happened, something came up and I had to go. Well, I know it's one type issued numbers of police judiciary. The Grixon's own gun was found on his person. Well, Swordman Zeke had admitted to losing his firearm, which was the issue. But absent-mindedness is not dissimilar to you, Mr. Nodo. I'm trying to think the cold, hard prosecutor and I could be friends after all. I wish you very success. Zico didn't actually die here at all. So where on earth could he have been killed? On the other way around, we must find out, for the inspector's sake. You know, you look awfully pale again today, Marudo. Sorry. When I start thinking it all through, I just conjure up some horrible images in my mind. Your imagination is a culprit there, huh, then? Most certainly guilty. Catches your eye as soon as you enter the room, doesn't it? It's such a bright colour, it certainly makes an impression, yes. They can't possibly commit any crimes, can they? I mean, redheads stand out like a sore thumb. Compared to a jet black Japanese hair, we stand out almost just as much here in London. I suppose that's true. You must think of the committing any crimes, isn't it? I wasn't! God, jeez. I think I'm gonna find anything else here. Maybe Sherm's is back? Nope. Second of November. Nahodo's legal counsel. Nope. Great Waterloo Hotel? Nope. Maybe Vigil is something new. Oh, and Ton starts shoving things in this guy's face. Just eat it. Eat it. Come on. Come on, Kennedy. Would you have a look at this? Oh, I'd rather have a wee handcuff biscuit. Oh, no thanks. I'd rather you just cast your eyes over this. Maybe even for the real handcuffs, eh? No, neither of these, please. Offer's lovely, though. I guess I gotta poke everything I can. Photograph Mrs. Vigil. Realizing the identity of this lady was a very good clue in exposing Mr. Gossip's true identity. He obviously loved his wife very dearly. That's why he felt he could never tell her the truth. The transformation was incredible, wasn't it? Well, just from a big twisted lip. Yes, it was an extraordinary effort to play the part of huge bone convincingly. Although, I don't really see was much more of an effort to me. Now that you say it, I have to agree. Mr. Vigil's true character. People really have very hard fathom their times. We detail the sketches all over the 10 years notice board. This history of Lord Van Zieg's defeats in court. I don't think that's an appropriate description. Although, everyone on the board is certainly true. What's of all these people with backgrounds of dubious dealings? And in the end, of course, the board itself concealed the inspector's own death. Oh my, it really does bear thinking about. Using candles as a timing device is very ingenious, I must say. Yes, the culprit arranged them the firecracker would be set off 5 o'clock, and then left. Her loud bang was heard precisely the moment Lord Van Ziek arrived, yes. If only I had picked up the gun off the floor. Something you probably told yourself once upon a time, I imagine. Yes, I've learnt the lesson, better your experience of telling me rent for sure. Which is why you have done many favors either. I can imagine this little figurine would turn out to be a watch winding key. Suppose it's a policeman, because Pockets was a gift from Scotland Yard. He seems much more Inspector Gregson than ever realised. He's a clearly brilliant man. It's the fish chips that threw us off. I feel though ruined his image. I really don't think we should blame one of the Britain's staple cuisines. But think about it. Imagine if Mr. Sholmes, how you feel instead of the old bar pipe that was always in his hand, Mr. Sholmes had a bag of chips. Rather disappointed, if I'm honest. Exactly. Hey Linkley, welcome. What the? This came out of the crime scene. I realized that. Does the person often make models of sin of every single case? Apparently so. Sometimes it helps to visualize things going better than and notice things you wouldn't have spotted before. Actually, let me on the notice board made my work. Be honest, you enjoyed that making that. It's one of Exig's parents. Ah! Ah! You stabbed the bats, did you? Fitting compensation for Lord Van Ziek, wouldn't you say? Actually, I've seen the things flying in Lord Strongheart's office too. Droves, I think. Hap, you have led like birds. Attend the rank in the judiciary here. Although bats aren't birds, of course. How about a sparrow for you? What's that supposed to mean? Oh, nothing. Sorry. Just thinking out loud. I'll hit you. I will slap you. Carlson is filling the floor, just like last time we were here. Hallowed barrels, I suppose. They have ranged according to the vintage, flavour, and region. Every week they are taken out and put back in order. What? Every week? Lord Van Ziek can't seem to settle on a perfect way. Arrange them, it seems, you see. Vintage, flavour, and region, but not necessarily concede. That's the trouble. Gosh, being an apprentice must be really challenging. Actually, no. Oh? He considers the task important to trust anybody else. He doesn't entirely know his own. So he's a barrel of laughs and in court then. Do you know who that man in the portrait is? It's Clint, isn't it? Why would I? Nani? You're my apprentice. Yes, apprentice, not friend. And during my time I was suffering from amnesia, I didn't even notice the picture. Oh, really? I mean, it's not the smallest picture. I wouldn't have had the first idea would come to my man's decorations in his office with it. Quickly, let's steal all his wine while we can. Everything's fine collection of hallowed chalices bottles are lined up. Yes, he's extremely particular about all that. He's strict for his aim of everything, even the storage of casks, the bottling of their contents. Gosh must have really tough time being his apprentice. Actually, no. Oh? He was so particular about it all, he refused to let anybody else touch any of it. It's quite easy for me, in fact. Talk about weird. Lord Van Zeek's incredibly stylish desk. It's not my style though. No, I would notice that you're working a little table on the floor, kneeling in Caesar style. I thought it was some kind of punishment set up by Lord Van Zeek when I first saw it. I find the most comfortable way to work. I can't do it. After a couple of minutes of sitting with my legs folded on they just start to go tingly. Don't exaggerate, Nosuke. We both know you can't even manage a minute. Well, fuck you too. I was shocked when I found out they were related to this case, Red-Headed League, I mean. Personally, it wasn't either the plan to swindle everyone out of the surprise me. It was the fact that many red had gathered from all of London that day. It's really a great detective being among them. I bet those two would be in their cells as we speak, wishing they'd never dreamt up their little plan. Or maybe they're busy plotting their next one. Yay! Presenting all evidence. The Reaper. At last, he'll take my revenge. Kazuma. Lamazik isn't responsible for your father's death. He's not the Reaper. He's a defendant deserving a fair trial. You mean, like the one my father had? There's a closed trial now too. The conditions are exactly as they were 10 years ago. And even if it ruffles the feathers, I have a plan to show the man for what he really is. Kazuma. It happened in the trial, didn't it? They were a little dubious, I mean. The fact that no time of death was recorded on Inspector Griggson's autopsy report. Yes, there's some unexpected turns in that courtroom earlier. The suggestion that came out certainly took everyone by surprise. The idea that the victim died the previous day at some other location was quite something. Well, considering when the pocket watch was stopped, the scorch marks on the candle, certainly there's a distinct possibility. There's evidence that sustains both points to it. To be honest, It bothered me too. So I paid the visit to the epilepsy room lady. The coroner responsible wasn't there, but I got a name. Dr. Gory. If you wouldn't mind traveling Kazuma-sama, we very much suspect with the coroner too. Of course. The last thing I want to end and be brushed this under the carpet. Calling out to top your authority is behind Logate Kitmary. Logate Kitmary. And by public prison, you mean. Ah, you know it, do you? The prison where my father was incarcerated and robbed of his life. Kazuma-sama. Well, thank you. We'll pay the visit to the laboratory later than today. I'm free! Renosuke, I want to thank you. For what? For this. You safeguarded the soul of Masogi clan. Well, it's a famous sword that's been in your family for generations. It's only a slight regret that I never got the chance to draw it once it returned to you. Kazuma is said to have been forged by the master swordsmith during the Sergei Warring State period. I come from a long lineage of warriors, many of whom were expert swordsmen. Well then, you chip off the old block, I'd say. This blade, Kazuma, Kuruma, the symbol of Soki clan, honor and might. Apparently, one of my father's apprentices even took the blade's name as for a surname. Really, Kuruma. 'Sounds formidable, that's for sure. 16 years ago, when my father was visiting a student in London, he had this sword forever at his side. Which is why it means so much to me to have it back by my side yet again now too. And that is all thanks to you. It was an honor. Now, I have preparations to make for tomorrow. Perhaps I said a little bit too much. Kazuma, you've changed. No, Renosuke, I haven't changed at all. It's you who have changed. I completely understand your resentment to Lord Van Zeke, given what happened, but the fact is, those events in this case are... Hey, little Mac, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's like, well, unrelated. That is what you want to say. How can you be so sure? What do you mean? Never mind. The man is a Reaper, and that's for what reason his inspector was killed. I'm going to prove it much in court tomorrow. By whatever means necessary. I can't let you do that, Kazuma. Then I'll kill you right now. Whatcha? I know you'll do what you can to do as a lawyer. Yes, the last will and testament is inside the sheath. But I'm sure I don't need to tell you I won't be taking any prisoners in the courtroom. He has drawn it on the ship. How's that well? Till tomorrow then, in the Old Bailey. Get out of my office. Now. Fine, I'll leave, you nerd. It was back in the first game in chapter 2. The only time you've seen the sword drawn. 2nd of November, Forensic Laboratory. This one's going to make over very quickly. But it's really creepy, isn't it? Creepy, isn't it? Well, being a dead room, it's probably full of spirits of the dissented. But actually, there's a rather pleasing scent of roses in the air. Well, the deal's the dead room. The corner probably needs a bold scent like that to make the last odor of death. Iris? Do you think we could change the subject? No! Death to all! What? What was that? What was that? Oh, fine, little Mac. Hey, little Mac, little Mac. Boxing people to the end of the world. Dr. Gory? Are you my mummy? That noise before. I was sharpening my tools. I'd be dead as meat if I kept that perfectly keen edge on them. Right. I'm following the colleague from his. The Demis is a sharp precision scalpel. Cuts like cheese. Would you like a demonstration? Oh, yes please. I'd love to see. Well then, I think you do nicely. Nope. I would not do that at all. I mean, maybe some other time. Tesk. Is that a tut? Well, we come to the last question, so... we have actually met before. I'm a lawyer, if you remember. You're not dead yet. What? So Mama said I wasn't going to cut you open. She's strict about things like that. Well, good. Let's like there's some scruples at least. Oh dear. Oh, it looks like she's not interested in talking to us. For the time being, anyway. For the time being, you mean? Until we die? That's way off. Sorry, but I wasn't planning on dying anytime soon. There's some lost to make. Let's still make way here. Listen. Category. What's the game here to ask you about this? He was very good. Good? Sorry. His skin didn't snag the blade once. It was a very little mess. His joints dislocated easily. His mustache was a pleasure to work with. Can we see the details? But there's one thing in the report that caught my attention. You didn't seem to have recorded the time of death. That's not my fault. Oh, that made me jump. Then please, tell us what happened. So why does this autopsy report include the victims, does not include the time of death? It really is most crucial detail. I was told not to write it. Nani? By whom? Well, Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice, he came here. Well, Strongheart came. He said from the witness's statement about the gunshot and the early evidence, it was obvious. The man could have died at 5 PM 1st November, when the gunshot was heard. That's not the time of death written on the report. You didn't write anything. Was there any reason why you didn't include it? Tisk! Dr. Gory. If writing something under Lord Strongheart's instructions, then sooner or later, you're going to be the same way as your mother. Give it here then. Oh, that got her attention. There. What you've written. What, Nani? What's you written? Tell us! Intermediate? But... Take this, guys. What do you mean by that? It was time as intermediate. Are you my mummy? Well, the species when it was brought in, it was still fresh. So the time of death could easily be considered with the gunshot if we heard. But there's one small discrepancy. There was some fried fish in his pocket. He did put it in his pocket. Pocket of the specimen. There we go. And that fish had started to rot. What? The victims like fried fish, presumably like he ate before he went off. Well, yes, that's really trying to say. It's probably that someone tried to manipulate the apparent time of death. Wait, though. How's that even possible to do? Theoretically, if you were to chill the body in ice, you could delay the onset of petrification. If the overcoat wasn't on the body at the time, then only fish would have started to rot. With today's science, it's not yet possible to determine if the body was chilled or not. The science advanced enough to let the freezing corpse, it seems. But surely, mature corpse like that would require an enormous refrigerator. Not many households in London equipped with such a device. No, definitely not. But maybe in a factory or some special places. Like a prison? I don't recall seeing any factories like in Francis Street though. I wonder if the inspector's body is killed by somehow. Where actually have time of death had been? I couldn't say for sure. At the most, I might have been a day earlier. No. In other words, it would collaborate your previous deduction, Mr. Naruto. Inspector Gretchen was killed the day before the body was discovered, in a different location. Did you inform Armstrong out of this possibility? He simply said there was no electrical refrigerators in the size in that vicinity. Yes, one other thing. Something the governor of Berkeley Prison told us. Is that your mother, Dr. Scythe? Responsible for confirming the death of the professor after his execution? The professor? Apparently you always enjoyed listening to your mother's stories about her work, so... I'm wondering if you might know something about what happened 10 years ago. That's not all Mama did. Sorry? My mama carried out the autopsy of Clint Van Zeke as well. Nutty? Really? Brother of Lord Van Zeke, the Professor's final victim. The idea of carrying out an autopsy report on a member of the aristocracy wasn't really unthinkable back then. The detective in charge of the investigation insisted, and it was meticulously authorized. But detective being Inspector Gregson, of course. Quite an accomplishment for one man. That autopsy provided a very vital clue to arrest the killer. And Mama was there for the historic event. What's all this mean? You know, the amazing autopsy happened right here in the very room. Professor Clint Van Zeke. They both spent the final moments here before buried the discussion on the table there. So this lab, Mama's lab, was instrumental in the sort of contributing most important events. She really is proud of her mother. I wonder if you can tell us more about exactly what happened back then, Dr. Glory. The first execution was Mama's first big case. She had been an audience at Berkeley President Execution Chamber and had signed a certificate confirming the convict's death. Mom was the best coroner in the world, you know. I was so proud of her. The execution didn't actually take place. No, and worse still, Mom actually helped with the jailbreak. I don't want to know. Oh dear, you found her out recently, you mean? I believe in her, in Mama, but now I wonder, there's a down the same path there. You mean because of your admitted time of death in this autopsy report? But of course Lord Strongheart forbade you from including it. Just like Mama, I'm sure she was concerned with somebody too. Yes, that's my feeling as well. There's no doubt that there were powerful forces at play 10 years ago. The execution couldn't have been staged. There was a lot of people in the prison knowing about it. Obviously, the prison governor must have been on it as well. The big man, little handcuffs according to that notice. It was checked to the chief wardener and said he knew nothing about it. Of course he said that. I'd say the same thing. Who was behind the jailbreak all those years ago? You mentioned the immense option of Clint Van Zeke. There was a time when carrying out autopsies on murder victims was very unusual. It's still not practiced and observed in our country, even now. It turned out that it was the professor's final victim. The autopsy report was performed. I hear my mummy. Mama was present, although only as a secondary assistant. The present leading producer was called Dr. John H. Wilson. Oh dear. That's right, my daddy. Well, now we know why he was targeted by the assassin. And then one of the past president, primary assistant, a visiting student from the Far East. Wait, a visiting student? Must have been my father, Eugene Makabara. I know the first Makabara has been involved in something this important. So, assassin killed John H. Williams because she thought that she was responsible for the his prison escape. But now comes the article, Popsy. Well, let's go with the vital piece of evidence that led to the capture of the professor. Let's say they come to identify Gensin Ashogi as infamous mass murderer. Do you happen to know anything about the piece of evidence? You can tell us any more? Would you like to see the record? Would you like... You my mom, mate. Would you like to see the records for yourself? What? Would you... Would that be alright? What's the point of keeping records if people can't look at them? They're filed under V. V for Vendetta, under those cupboards. Records into decades. Thank you. Let's see. Van Zeeks. That's strange. What's up with Nado? They aren't here. There's nothing here under Van Zeeks. There must be. Had somebody took them away? No, no one's allowed to take documents related to the professor's case out of this room. You're right, they're gone! Well then, last time somebody looked at them, do you remember? It was... Oh yes, I remember now. It was 2 years ago. It was Lord Strongheart. Called the detective on Kim Day and asked us to see the records. No, you don't mean... Oh. Herlock Sholmes was his name. God! Deep down I knew it was going to be him coming. Do you think he stole the records? Oh no, surely not. Iris, you can't be right. Can it? God damn it, Hurley, again! First you steal the gummy Venus de Milo and now this! Reno? I hope you don't mind, but... What is it, Iris? I just remembered something very important I have to go do. I'm gonna go kick Hurley's ass! Very hard! Oh, this is very fun, Iris. Well, we'll come with you then. Oh, no, there's no need. You and Runa can take your time. Yeah, bye for now then. Good luck. Hurley! Wait, are you my mummy? Wait, little girl. Me? I remember now. You've been here before, haven't you? Have you, Iris? Yes, 2 years ago, when the detective came. You were with him, weren't you? You're the living specimen too, then. That's what it usually works, yes. Was I don't really remember. Anyway, sorry. But a mustache. Wait, Iris. I brought a party when you get home. Damn it, another flash bomb. What's the matter with her? She's behaving really strangely all of a sudden. Well, in that case, we won't keep you any longer either. You're quite a while since I had any visitors. This was really fun. Next time you come, I hope you're already just ready for this section. Can't make any promises, sorry. It's a bit strange that the records of Clint Van Zeek sometimes have been disappeared. I think we've asked all that comes to us now. Ellie! Where is he hiding? I can't even examine that room. Where's everyone gone? He's not here either. Everyone's just fucking run for the fucking 7 hills. Hey kid, McFly, welcome. I'm close. Wait, there's a chest there. Why is there a box there? The police are still busy investigating here then. But Gina's nowhere to be seen. Where is she? Yes, it's been blissfully quiet, hasn't it? Perhaps she's out investigating on her own. Passing what her boss told her. Well, I expect she'll be back before too long. Shall we wait? Actually, there's something different about this room since last time we were here. Literally 2 minutes ago. So you could always use some time to investigate more thoroughly. How about this new... Oh look! You can see the doors open that way because of the dirt on the floor. This little trunk wasn't here before. Oh, it appears to be made of metal. It must be very heavy. I wonder... Oh, there's a gash down the side. I wonder who it belongs to. Some initials on the inside. Look. TG. Tobias Gregson. Last time I appears to notice is... Oi! What do you think you're doing? That's my trunk, that is. Hand off. Gina. Where were you hiding? I don't know. You leave something in a ton of tent for a few seconds and every Tom, Dick and Harry's got his greedy eyes on it. So what I guess, Gina, but... What? Spit out, Otto. It's fair to say this was owned by Trunk since this morning's trial? What are you trying to say? Come on. The trunk goes with me everywhere. It always has. I've been in it last year. Try not to incur your wrath, mainly. And it's now gone. You should hear what they're talking about in the yard, you know. They should be ashamed of themselves. They're saying that it was the boss who killed all them bludgers. You mean the whole Reaper thing? Yeah. Apparently, the boss was investigating stuff no one else in the yard knew nothing about. Stuff to do with all criminals going off scot-free. Yeah, the prosecutor of Lord Van Zeke who used to bribery, corruption, and evade conviction. Well, then obviously, them bloomin' Reapers giving the orders, aren't they? Wouldn't it? But why would people suspect Inspector Gregson of being involved with the killings? There was a notebook in his office. Oh no, this doesn't sound good. It had details about all the crimes that have been pegged as the Reaper's work. Nutty! No. Did you see it, Gina? Did you see the notebook? I stole it. They wouldn't flaming let me, because I just apprentice apparently. But it was me who found it, and the boss, and he's my boss. That's right. I was pretty miffed about it, so I staked the pig on what it said anyway. Oh, that's our Gina. So, you managed to see what was written in the Gregson's ticket notebook anyway, did you? When I see it, that's my right to read what I wrote. Or we wrote. And what was written, Gina? Dates, times, places, names, all list of things. All the details their bludge are supposed to have been done in by the Reaper. But that could be an explanation for that. Had to have recorded the inspector's investigation into the Reaper's activities. Exactly! That's what I said! It was the first thing I'd been thinking, right? But it appears it was full of names I recognised anyway. While the Reaper's targets were almost exclusively known to London's criminal underworld. Yeah, well yeah, but then there's one name on the end that was a bit odd. At the end of the list, you mean? Yeah, I'm pretty sure the date against it was the 31st of October. Oh, the day before the inspector was found dead. So what was the odd name? I wouldn't like the name that I've seen before. Something like, nah, it's no good. I can't remember it. I don't think it was an English name. put it away. Oh dear, that's a pity. There's someone else too. I don't know if it matters, but the same name kept coming up over and over. Shin, it was. Doesn't mean anything to you. Yeah, assassin. The assassin's name was Assassin. Did you say Shin? Ah! What? Does that mean name something? Lord Van Zeeks knew the name too. He mentioned it to her as well. The woman who actually did all the deeds. And now we find her name appeared in Gregson's secret notebook. We haven't seen you for a little while, have we, Gina? Well, of course not. I've been busy, ain't I? Investigating that. Lads in the art of trying to trace the boss's movements the day before it happened. The day before, there'd be an undercover investigation into Redhead League then. And the boss didn't go, did he? You found that Cov what was pretending to be him, didn't ya, Otto? Yes, it was Mr. Vigil who actually went to Park Lime Street that day, posing as Gregson. Well, anyway, you ain't going down and turn up stuff. We've got to be marrying and getting results. Your soul will be mine! Your death will come quickly! And me and Papa here got all together, nothing to track down. Oh, little Toby! That's a faithful friend. So have you tracked anything down then? What you think, eh? Of course we have. Can't you tell though? Police business, innit? Well, what's the point if you ever need any help? You know what to do. You know who to turn it to, right? Me and the old Alhound here, right? Because he looks so hellish, honest. You're so behind. But Gina, about your hell hand there. I'm back. You know what? Your soul looks tasty. Give it to me. Chief Inspector Toby, you mean? Yeah, he's a bright on the force, he is. In Japanese, police dog means something quite different altogether, nice of those involved in crime. But here in Britain, it's a wonderful compliment, it seems, for criminal at least. It should be, after all, the great exhibition case the other day. It was Toby who managed to locate Debitor's workshop. Maybe time for another demonstration of what Super Dog can do, eh? Do you have something the Chief Inspector can catch a scent of? I wonder.
Take that!
Well, Chief Inspector Toby, you wouldn't mind having a sniff of this? Hey, you might be a little too keen. You might be a little bit too keen, you think? The Chief Inspector made short work of Gina there. Ah, look he's gone. Look he's gone to. Oh my, that's actually very strong scent. I respect to Gregson. In other words, it must have belonged to him. Fuck. Alright. The fair cop, I suppose. You nearly got away with it too. If it weren't for that meddling dog. Ah. You always think so proudly of Chief Inspector Toby's nose. You can achieve. Did it cross your mind that he might identify something that was right next to us? Yeah, that was a bit of a bloomer, wasn't it? Well, enough of that then, Gina. Huh? Yeah. I think it's time you told us the truth about the trunk. See you soon, Linkley. Thank you. It wasn't I. It wasn't like that. It wasn't. What are you talking about? I ain't what you're going through your head of yours, but it won't happen. Alright then. What did happen? Well, like I said before, we're trying to trace the boss's movements. Don't we have a whiff of the boss's overcoat? And as soon as it's done, it went off like a shot. freshly departed souls are the most delicious. Straight to that sandwich. To a sandwich? You mean not a bag of chips? It's not though. I can't believe Gina means the witness. Oh, I forgot about that sandwich. Yeah, he had it between his wooden boards of his boarded trunk. You mean they heard him sound like a gunshot and piled in here? Exactly. He nabbed it from the scene. Oh goodness. Me and the chief inspector gave the sandwich a good grilling. You know what he said? I thought about such a good price. The shop won't need any help anymore. So, but that's all I did. Nothing more. No, nothing less. Would you have you would have Adam and Eve the check of it, stealing the dead boss's stuff. The flog. So Miss Venus wasn't the only one in the middle of the scene of the crime then. How could they? So anyway, what happened? A pretty decent trunk, so I figured I might as well make use of it. There's something wrong with there. Well, maybe you and Mr. Sam should try and find the answer to that question together. Progress. I think the trunk should be turned over to the police, don't you? What do you want about? I am the police. Gina, if you wouldn't mind, could we maybe examine it? Yeah, alright then. Do what you want with it. Thank you. Submit the details of court of examination for the evidence. Great, the trunk add to the evidence. What's the matter with Toby? Why is he acting so aggressive towards me all of a sudden? Mr. Naro, be careful! It must be the trunk. Ah, my soul! Toby, wait, what you doing? You're gonna lick his face off. Mr. Nardo! Get it quick! Hail a carriage! Did my face get eaten? 2nd November, 4:75 PM. Nardo's legal counsel and consultancy. You ever seen this huge gash across the side of the trunk here? It's right through the leather and into the metal behind. Gosh, for the metal chests like this have been so badly damaged. Who made the gash must have been stuck to the side of a trunk, because of course. I wonder how it happened. Look at this dark stain here. Do you think... Yes, I'm afraid so. I think it's blood. Ah, I knew you were going to say that. So, presumably means... He was present at the scene when Inspector Gregson was killed. Most logical conclusion, yes. To think Gina was carrying around this with her. You'd think you know better now. I suppose it does look like a grease stain from all the fish and chips. Can I not? I can't open it. Do I need a key? Let's have a look inside. I don't need a key. Look, there's something inside. Oh, let's see. It appears to be a passport authorizing travel overseas. Was Inspector Garrison about... Well, it was Inspector Garrison about to go jump aboard then? Perhaps the date of departure might tell us something. That was... Oh, what is it? It was travel on the 31st of October, one day before the incident. What? Really? Garrison went to France the day before his body was discovered? The body's correction. Passport number ACD 123 0552 0255 0522. Day departure within 1 week from October 31st. Destination Port of Dunkirk, France. Proposed traffic, police business. Notes. Provisional permit, one additional person to travel. Because he's going to take Gina with him to France. You took me home and sent her to the hospital? Hey, Mr. Nato, are you alright? That is so. Ah! Conscious again at last! What's the relief, my dear fellow? After all, the drop dead of the moderate looking by a small terrier, most unseemly. Was it, or isn't it, sanely irrelevant here, Mr. Sholmes? Did you, like, backhand him? I'm quite glad no lasting damage. How are you feeling? I'm fine, thank you. Did you bring me back here? Ah, what's on my head? Bandage? Sadly, we had no ice. So we had to compress it with sugar water. Sugar water? Don't worry, Mr. Nando. It's a first aid treatment my father taught me. Alright, thank you. So, let us take tea when you're feeling up to it. But of course, no one sugar is in the patient's cup. The bob of my head is throbbing sweet enough. Oh, don't worry. You bitch. Whenever you feel ready, then. You got some explaining to do. Thank you for your concern, Mr. Sholmes. My dear fellow, think nothing of it. I must say I was quite startled when I heard that you'd been attacked by a dog. For a moment, I feared the infamous murder of Benny Keep had come back from the dead. You mean the professor? Fortunately, it seems your prize throat was unscratched. That stiff turned up collar of yours obviously affords you somewhat protection. Was I close to death? All I really remember was the dog licking my face over and 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 over again. Well, if you wish to avoid such troubles in the future, a little mustard spread on the cheeks would do the trick. Should think of some balanced sweetness of your bandage rather readily. Tea time!
Mit dem Schwarzbiergebot, Brot und Wien, Feuerberg,
The fuck?
den Schlund es mir verbrannt, ach Hopfen deine Wut.
The fuck did I miss here?
Dem Knacker ich befahl,
What on earth is going on here? Having a bad dream? Ah no, it's an old German folk song. Rather fine rendition, I think. That's the least of my concerns. Iris? Did you murder Sadaso's father? Iris, what's the matter? Who's that spawn? I mean, that's Wax Finman over there. That's your dad. Iris, is she even listening? Excuse me, sir. I do apologize for troubling you with your singing. Sorry, apparently, but would you be so kind enough to explain the situation? Well, that worked. I think we're going to do a deduction case here. The current gentleman is a neat young girl, rather entitling juxtaposition, and one that appears to have incidents of gods of deduction within me to find their voice to. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, do you mean? Oh, here we go again. Oh shit, here we go again. The strains of reasoning within me are playing now, delightful duets. One melody, the sing of reunion, full of nostalgia. Whilst the other is more the theme, the great secret trying to disparate our council. Iris. She turned as white as a sheet. So, as usual, instantly seeing the very heart of the matter. And the time my own brief performance is over, I feel sure this gentleman's song will reach its finale. So then, the music land, where all the sweetness and delicacies of harmony. Pray, enjoy Herlock Sholmes' logic and reasoning spectacular. I actually do enjoy these. The man's identity. Firstly, we have considered the gentleman's nationality. Clearly, he's a German with no grasp of English language. As evidenced by the German song, the singing apparently he ability to understand. We asked my dearest. So, why is the man here at all in such apparently high spirits? The answer, of course, is Iris. Clearly known to you. Indeed, she only followed your gaze. The bright young eyes unravel the particular of this mystery. The reason for the man's mildly infuriating wobbling is evident of the herbal tea. You obviously offered the German guest a couple of your latest herbal remedies. That particular flavour has made the man's spirits soar, resulting in joyful, diddly trembling intensely from his lips. I eagerly await the simultaneous flavour of myself, that I may join the following state of elation. Now, the next question. Who exactly is this gentleman, and failing himself so thoroughly on the sentee? Happens a number of years ago now. A certain gentleman of German origin engaged my services in solving a particular detective case. It requires a... Okay. For the love of God, man. It's literally... It's literally my assistant's father. God damn it, man, you're an idiot. It requires a relative letters, once sent to an acquaintance. It might be really problematic. He's like... This is probably the furthest he's ever been off one of his deductions. He's not concealed a noble identity. He also arrived at the office in my mask. The gentleman's name was Wilhelm Goschwitz Sigmund von Ohatin, the King of Germany. In memory service, the mask worn by this gentleman is identical. Yes, there's certainly no question. The mask belongs to the King of Germany. It appears that His Majesty remembers the fine service I had afforded him, and has decided to show his face again, mask and all, in order to express his gratitude. Well, my managed monarch, indeed. Wouldn't you agree, my dear fellows? So the identity of this masked visitor is in fact my former client, the King of Germany. Indeed, the son is currently in London as well, enjoying the wonders of the Great Exhibition. The girl's silence. But sees us a very remain importable. Yes, you, young Iris. But apparently, individual silence is unable to be heard the truth. Yes, the reason for your methods is still within your knapsack. £5 note. I believe to say your compatriot is. I'm deeply saddened. It would appear that you have been allowed yourself to bribe into silence by His Royal Highness. You yourself quite a spending money in exchange for keeping quiet about the King's secret. And now the final piece of the puzzle. What's the secret you're so sensitive to hide in your silent, Iris? Ah yes, we only need to follow your brief involuntary twitch of your eye to find the answer. Tap you the con with a coffee cup. My favourite coffee cup, in fact. Or should I say, the handle of my favourite coffee cup. Poor boy, he's a big piece of shit. It appears His High Spirit Highness is in a broken amidst this hijinks. Which leads us to the sad truth. My favourite teacup has been broken by the King of Germany, and Iris has tried to steal it from me! I shall have the bill sent to the further government channels, the Germany royal family, for its replacement. Fucking hell, man. Thus concludes Sherlock Shane's great deduction. This painful puzzle. The press Shrooms is back. Your silence as well. Fellow jovial well-being. Well, rings the ears, doesn't it not? Ah! Mr. Shrooms, must something doesn't rather trouble me. Pray, Miss Edison, do tell me. Is His Royal Highness doesn't appear to be moving a muscle since we arrived. Ah! And you haven't said a word either, Iris. If Mr. Sholmes has it all right, you might as well open up your own now. You pout like a bitch, Iris. Your reasoning isn't entirely without substance, I must admit. And one other thing, Mr. Sholmes. You have another grievance, Mr. Nodo. Surely not. Well, actually, read the story of the case that recently you were just describing. According to that list, it wasn't the King of Germany, it was the King of Bohemia. Goodness, was it? Yes, quite true. Master Gotz, the Prince of testified in the court. His words, I have come to see the great exhibition all the way from my homeland of Bohemia. Fuck! I would ask you to keep the minor error to yourselves, or it could easily become quite a scandal. I believe, Mr. Nardo, that's our turn to make some corrections to the number of minor errors. Something. Minor errors? Fuck me, there's no minor errors. Even though Mr. Sholmes is willing to admit that he might be willing to wide my father's time. Though it's clear that Iris is definitely hiding something. Time to find the truth behind the mysterious scene. But one truth is incontrovertibly, my favourite teacup is no more. So, shall we embark again? The joint presentation of Sherlock Holmes' logic and reasoning spectacular! Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Firstly, we consider the gentleman's nationality. Clearly, is a German with no grasp of English language. As evidenced by the German song he is singing apparently inability to understand and digest. So, why is the man here at all, in such apparently high spirits? Here's the answer, of course. Iris. Equally known to you. Indeed, we need to follow the gaze of your bright young eyes to unravel the particular mystery. The reason for the man's mildly infuriating wobbling is a relevant teacup. Wrong! So, what is some mix of herbs that gives you the urge to sing? Goodness, I should like to try some. I'd hear you singing, but this man, just how long does he intend to keep up that tune you suppose? As I said, it's been stock still the entire time. If you look closely, his lips aren't even moving either. Ah! I'm not sure what's actually responsible for spirited singing. I suspect the answer lies with Iris's gauge.
Take that!
The gramophone. Reality has been destroyed again. I can see the mouse even better from this angle. The reason the man's mildly infuriating wobbling is revealed by the gramophone. Indeed! For no well-bred man would break into our obscure folk song when making a social call. In other words, the gentleman isn't singing at all. In fact, it would appear that the fellow is unconscious. The museum will stop now. I asked you, Mr. Nando. Yes? Why would I purchase a recording of that gibberish? How should I know? Oh, never mind. On to the deduction. Who exactly is the gentleman availing himself so thoroughly to the shanty? As it happens, a number of years ago now, a certain gentleman from Germany engaged my service involving a particularly delicate case. He required to reveal the letters once sent to the acquaintance must be proven problematic. In order to conceal the noble identity, he also arrived at my office in a mask. The gentleman's name was William Groschka Schützer von Obstenstein, the King of Germany. If memory serves me, the mask worn by this gentleman is identical. Yes, can't leave no question. The mask belongs to the King of Germany. Although we already established that it wasn't actually the King of Bohemia, it seems a strange intent to persist with this Germany theory for some reason. Come on, think of it. Your young prince wearing a mask, wasn't he? Mr. Gotz, The boy who was in tears? Or remind me, or anyone else. You suppose not all members of the aristocracy of mainland Europe wear masks? I'm sure they do. Well, probably. Anyway, the point is, the mask doesn't belong to any king. No, that's right. We all know. It was identify the true owner of the mask.
Take that!
It's give me no question. The mask belongs to Kozuma Asogi. In other words, my memory is sublimely unreliable. Only you could try and make that sound positive. Kozuma's mask has been languishing on the metal chest for several days. Although it doesn't explain why the gentleman is wearing it now. But now it's a simple matter of determining our guest's true identity. After all, the man's unconscious. We need to excuse ourselves in advance, gently lift the mask off the pid beneath it. I don't believe it. Ah! Father! Father! I'm afraid, Miss Sadaso, you must be mistaken. No, I don't think so, Mr. Sholmes. Then it would appear that our logical reasoning has once again been revealed the truth. This mysterious visitor is my unconscious father, Major Mekura. Logic and reasoning, or just looking and saying? the outfit changing the photo to the default outfit. Which leads us to one remaining imponderable, yes, you know, young Iris. But you're apparently ineffectual science, unable to hide the truth. Yes, the reason why your meanness is concealed in your knapsack. The 5-pound banknote poking from a knapsack, isn't it? Oh dear, I can be sure. Can't be sure. Most money we encounter is in coin form. I'm not sure I've ever seen any banknotes here in Britain before. Oh. Anyway, father would never have paid money for Iris' science. Seems like Iris, the son type, certainly like the son type himself though, judging by his present state. I see some reason why Iris is silenced, I suppose. Perhaps Iris is trying to hide like give away with her eyes. Look at something entirely different. The slipper features Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, doesn't it? It does. When first I saw the mantelpiece, I very fainted from excitement. Doesn't Iris keep her elvishness in there? Yes, part of never mentioned in the stories. It was probably for Japanese equivalent to slipper for fun. In other words, for a wooden gesso sandal. I thought it wouldn't be possible to hide anything inside. It's better because...
Take that!
Wrong. Obviously, the real reason for the Iris silence is now give away the slipper. The truth is, even though it's a famous item from one of the most famous stories, Mr. Sholmes, it really hasn't been tearing the respect it deserves. So it's secretly been hiding chocolates inside it. I've secretly been eating them. As a semblance of, I thank you for not disturbing Mr. Nato. End up being the person at fault here. Okay, I can. Let's try again. think about it, Iris always wears a little bag on her back, doesn't she? That's where she keeps her bazooka. She hasn't used that in a while. There's two little front doors attached as well. There are? I had no idea. I remember seeing them before. It's probably there always been £5 notes poking out of the bag. We just haven't noticed before. I can't say with absolute certainty, but I think it's unlikely. The metal chest contains important documents, doesn't it? Yes, details of all the cases Mr. James has worked on over the years. Written up by Iris' father, if I remember correctly. Iris insists on keeping the chest locked at all times. She's never shown anyone inside. Well, the contents are unavailable to her, I suppose. It's rather been very possible. Look at it now. The catch is unlocked for someone's. Ah, so it is. It's hard to ignore. Very. I've never seen the chest unlocked before. All the times I've been staying in Baker Street.
Take that!
Probably. Yes, the reason for your mutant is sealed in the middle chest. Excellent observation! Upon closer inspection, there's something different about the chest appearance. It's held locked at all times, except now the catch is open. Evidently, there's something to do with your refusal to speak, Iris. But still have the matter of incarnate your speakers, I'm sure. Nearly open the chest. Here we go. No! Charlie, don't! Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes! Hurry! He landed in exactly the same pose as well. He's dead. Never! Oh, Hurley, I told you not to open it. Ah, so you found your voice now, Iris. In other words, what just happened clearly reveals the truth here. Yes, the real reason for your silence until now is so different to the usual dance of deduction performed by Mr. Sholmes, isn't it? Well, he left me alone in the ballroom floor. I'm going to have to dance the next part of solo. And anyway, I need to get to the bottom of this, my own peace of mind. Now then, Iris, using the sun type, so. I mean, you don't actually know the answer yet, despite knowing the point of the finger before. It's sad, so. Sometimes a man needs to point the finger first to think of it later. Oh well, if you say so. It means to better examine Iris more closely to try and figure out the situation. Woo. Nice cue you'll have there.
Take that!
Yes, the real reason for your silence now is that key behind your back. Ah! When Mr. Sholmes was thrown in the air before, just before you called out to try and stop him, you slipped something out of your mouth. Wait, you hid the key in your fucking mouth? You're so... It's clever, Runo. So, it all becomes clear. Then thanks to Mr. Sholmes' graphic demonstration, we can imagine what happened here. But... The first Moko also opened the middle chest, only to be punched into the air. And then falling on the city. But wait, that doesn't explain all the facts. But the stylish scarf, or the cup of tea, above all, why are he wearing Cosmo mask? Well, for those curious details, I can think of only one explanation. Certainly, it's an unbelievable miracle that took place in this room. Isn't that right, Iris? This is how the room was arranged before the whole painful experience took place. When Professor Mofo opened the chest completely unaware of what awaited inside, Miles flung into the air just like he was, only to land neatly on his face and then fell back down. The thing of a journey through the air ended up where it caught unconscious person's finger. You mean to say that the stylish scarf is actually the tablecloth? The great defective office, after all, the place of miraculous deductions. You've never... Oh, nothing less. You're right. It happened exactly as you said. Brilliant, Reno. Thus concludes Naruto's great deduction of punching puzzles. So then, why don't I take a fresh pot of tea for all of us?
Objection!
Admirable performance, Mr. Naruto. But the final axis shows there's a rather missing everything important. Mr. Sholmes, cast your mind back to earlier in my deduction. Iris, clearly you're hiding a great secret. She is. Look at her face. Mr. Sholmes must be right. What a great secret is it? The cat isn't out of the bag yet. So I put it to you again. What were you attempting to abscond with the coffee cup? It's really a shame Mr. Sholmes' cup. Must be a match to the professor's open chest. Oh dear, so many things seem to have been broken here. Now that deduction has taken a different direction, Iris doesn't seem to be trying to hide a broken cup anymore. In other words, a great secret is somewhere else. Let's put observation skills to work here for one final time then. Woo!
Take that!
I could see it before it even started. You're taking what's done with the case file. Iris, you know very well. Nothing escapes the attention of the great detective. Oh no. We visited Scotland Yard autopsy letter earlier today. And Dr. Gory informed us that the autopsy report from Clint Van Stik had gone missing. Clint Van Stik! Ah, yes, I do remember it. Some years ago, I asked for the report in question. You were there with me, weren't you, Iris? Was she the one that took it, not Sholmes? You mean it was you, Iris? The papers you have there are... I'm so sorry. Hide the case file. What the fuck was the key about then? She's not trying to misdirect us with the key, I guess. In truth, I would like to have a thought I could have predicted the body trap test. But it caught me completely off guard. I was fairly nearly late consulting the Sherlock Sholmes. I'm sorry, Hurley. So you mean this autopsy report really is? Yes, I took it from the lab, even though I knew it was very important. Something in trouble, you, Iris? Not exactly something that troubled me. Something I've been looking for. When I saw this report, is when I saw writing in it. I know it's Daddy's. The writing? Your father's writing? The one who died in Japan? Oh, fuck, I was supposed to say that out loud. What do you really mean? Iris, it must be something that's hard for her to talk about. Forgive me for interrupting, my dear fellows. Mr. Sholmes, what is it? I feel the poor unconscious man on the city is somewhat forgotten. Ah, Father! Perhaps we should find our guest somewhat more peaceful to rest. Mr. Naruto? Yes? Would you be so kind as to lead him to your bed? We must be our very best to make you very comfortable, I feel. But yes, of course, I'll help you carry him up. So will I. No. I can manage alone, thank you. You have tea to enjoy. Wait a minute, we want Mr. Iris. Where'd he go? There's Brew and Stew. There's no better way to make Professor comfortable than dragging him up the stairs like a trunk. Ow! Ow! Oh, quit your whining! Ow! Ow! I wonder, Mr. Sholmes was making himself scarce to give Iris a chance to talk more freely? I must take the opportunity to talk with Iris and find out what's going on. Let's tell you about what would I tell you about tell us about it, Iris, your father. I'm sure I told you before, didn't I? Daddy used to be a Hurley's partner. Yes, and the notes all the cases were solved are kept inside the metal chest. Actually, I just put a big boxing glove in there. It's hilarious. Did you see what happened? That's right. Hurley told me, you see. He said that Daddy's somewhere far away now, so we can't meet. That's one way of describing it. Then when I secretly unlocked the chest and read through the papers inside, I built a picture in my head of what Daddy must be like. Well, it's only natural. But just like any other girl of your age. I read that Daddy was professor in medical science, so I studied and took my degree too. Well, that's only natural, I suppose. You're fucking 10. No, it's not. You can't have a degree when you're 10 years old. In a respect, you're not quite any other girl of your age, though. But there was one thing that I couldn't never find out. Daddy's name. His name wasn't anywhere in any of the note files he made with work with Hurley. But then one day, that's what happened, isn't it? When you saw the autopsy report, you finally managed to work it out. That's right. Yes. So the handwriting in the report that caught her eye. When I saw the writing on the report, I couldn't hardly believe it. I know what handwriting. I thought myself. Because of the same handwriting you'd seen on your father's case notes. Exactly. I was desperate to compare the two properly. I needed to see it side by side. I told Dr. Lepre, but I was told I couldn't take it report away. Even worse, I was told that it was the first and last time I'd be allowed to even look at it in here. So you decided to steal it. You bet your ass I did. When I compared the autopsy report to the case notes I had here, there was no doubt. The handwriting was exactly the same. It was Daddy's. And the signature of the coroner at the bottom of the autopsy report read Dr. John H. Wilson. That's how I finally found out. I learned Daddy's name at last. I see. Ever since then, I called myself Iris Wilson. That's also when I had the brilliant idea of writing stories all about Daddy's exciting times with Hurley. I decided then I'd write the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Oh, Iris. I had no idea the stories had quite such a deep personal significance for you. I can see why the autopsy report was so important to her now. And she's prepared to break the law to get her hands on it. You're going to jail, little girl. I must apologize, Iris. I must apologize, Iris. It's really all my fault. Hurley, I made a promise, you see, until the time was right. I keep the details about your father a secret. I know. I've been very naughty. I'll take the autopsy report back to Corsi and apologize, I promise. Yes, well, we'll go together, I think. And that's how Sherms ended up in prison. Let's take a look after you. Let me look after it until we get there. Finally. Quiet your ellipses, little girl. Cliff Van Zeke, Richmond, May 31st between 9 p.m. and midnight. Death from a single stab wound to the heart. Other severe external wounds indicating of a duel. Additional notes. Recent scarlet ink stains visible on the little ring finger of the right hand, but no document in corresponding ink was found. Autopsy findings. Vital evidence recovered from the victim's stomach during the autopsy credit Inspector Gregson Perdition for so dodgily for the autopsy procedure. No internal trauma note of any of note taken anywhere in the body. I must go water my herbs, I think. I'll see you all later. Goodbye, Ghost Iris. Poor Iris, she must be feeling awful. You know what time it is? Let's tell her about her dad dying. That'll cheer her up. Aha! Ah! What? How? What's the meaning of this, Mr. Sholmes? Mr. Sholmes? Oh, dear me. Sorry. You've noticed, I see. But that would mean... What's that, Mr. Statiso? We've turned as white as a sheet. This is autopsy report, Mr. Naruto. One from 10 years ago. The writing isn't Dr. Wilson's at all. Huh? What do you mean? We possibly know that. Because I know this writing all very well. This writing is my father's. What? Mr. Fuzz. Indeed, it's true. And now that you know, my dear fellows. No, I don't know anything. What does this all mean, Mr. Sholmes? Because the idea that's slowly forming in my mind is too extraordinary to believe. Please, you have to explain. So to choose a pin for Professor Mergwitters then? I think it's more that Sato's father forged the death document, forged the documents to try and get the person proved innocent. But it makes no sense. Possibly sure. Not possible, my dear fellow. Pray, take a deep breath and think again. Yes, you're right. In some ways, it actually makes a great deal of sense. It does? 10 years ago, when my father returned to Japan after his extended study in Britain, and prior to his return, well, Dr. Matoba is engaged. Of course, he was instead of Dr. Wilson's laboratory, learning best forensic science. And as an assistant, he would have aided with the dissection work, making detailed notes, which would assemble into a full autopsy report. Once the work was completed, I heard the coroner would check the contents and put his signature on the document. So in other words, the only writing of Dr. Wilson's in the report is his signature at the end. I see. So Iris got the wrong end of the stick, you mean? What she saw was assumed to be the whole report being written by Dr. H. Wilson, which is very understandable, of course. What's complete situation? We live in a post-joke world, Erdno. Think about it. Most of what we know to you, Mr. Sholmes, comes from the published stories of your exploits. Yes, the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, written by Iris. And we really have no way of knowing what the fact and what is fiction. There's something for you, my dear fellows, I'm sure. But the supposed partner of yours, did he really exist or not? Ah, you've gone straight to the point, I see. Please come straight to the answer. I believe Iris explained it in one of her installments. He was a trusted comrade and the only person I could truly have called a friend. And did this partner of yours truly take all the records of your cases? Are his notes really stored inside that metal chest? Let's open it and find out! No Sholmes, wait! Absolutely, my dear madam. Absolutely. So, where's your partner now? We've rarely met. You see, he lives on the other side of the world. If autopsy is a record of all your old cases were penned in the same hand, and if autopsy report was written through not signed by your famous partner, then the logical conclusion, pray, impress me. Your partner would have to be Eugene Merkaba. In other words, Satsu's father. Pardon my word, Manado. Yes? Are you coming along wonderfully? You have hit upon the method at last. Your father grasped at the art of deduction. You mean to say? Allow me to introduce you to my great friend and partner, Merkaba. Professor Merkaba. Well, I think it might have been right, actually. Does this mean you're the real Dr. Wilson? What? No, my dear. I'm still my old self, Junior Merkaba, your father. Oh, of course. This obviously is too much for Suso to take in. I must say, though, how my old friend has attended the worldwide celebrity at the great mystery solver, the greatest mystery of all. I still remember the first time we met. Pray remind me. Pray remind me. When was it again, Mr. Merkaba? 16 years ago, Sholmes. Yes, quite. 16 years ago. Now that I'm looking at him, he actually looks like Wilson. What Wilson looks like in most of the fiction. Quite 16 years ago. I just arrived from Japan with Shoto and Genshin. I was in search of lodgings and close to the hospital. Some comfort rooms at reasonable prices. But rent is seriously high in this particular area. That's right, so I decided I needed someone to share lodging comparisons. It's my fortune enough to be introduced to Mr. Sholmes, who found himself in a similar situation. Oh, I was a colored fellow back then, a mere shadow of my great detective you see before you now. I was working in his hospital's chemical laboratory at the time, indulging my curious little gain. And the situation of our cohabitation led us to pursuing cases together, you see. Hard to believe. It was a mere 6 years, and we had great many adventures. But in the last year of Merkaba's stay in Britain, that most infuriating case presented itself. A case with which you have become rather familiar yourselves. Professor Killings. After the trial, Sergio and I were coming back to home. Hardly surprising, given the circumstances. So there you have it. And you know, all the details accorded by Tussie, coroner remains the mental chest. That's amazing. Professor Merkaba really is Mr. Sholmes' famous partner. Father? Goodness, my dear. What a cutting look. As your daughter, I am very proud to learn you are a great detective, great partner. But nevertheless, there's another mystery that I really must ask you to explain now. And that is? You know very well what it is. The unsolved mystery of Iris' father. Of course, I must have forgot about that one. Well, you see, when a man meets a woman... I should have seen this one coming, I suppose. Iris told us that all the notes about the great detective's adventures were in the metal chest. Were written by her father. Isn't that correct, Mr. Sholmes? That is indeed. What I told you, young Iris. But if you're Sholmes' partner, father, you wrote all those case notes. Then Iris' father must be you. Bye. Pardon my word, Miss Sotoso. You're coming along wonderfully as well. You two have hit upon the method at last. A fine grasp the art of deduction. What? But you've always told me, Father, that my mother died when I was born 16 years ago. He left me in grandmother's care whilst she embarked to study in Britain. You've always accepted that, but what was about Iris? Thank you. There it is. So it's ice cold stare. Cake has arrived. No. Hold on a minute. This is very complicated. I mean, it's really not what you think. Then perhaps you'd like to explain what it is. There it is. Their eyes from the ice cold and red hot. Just before she... No, really, I've got nothing on the stick. Mr. Shrooms, say something. I am already long gone. That's quite enough, my fairy fellows. Mr. Shrooms, when did he get all dressed up? I am running for my life right now. I'll be back later. Or never. Goodbye. Whilst I don't like to interrupt your exciting exploration of the past, Meg and I have urgent matters that requires our short excursion. But, it's very late, Mr. James. Where must you go? My dear madam, that isn't obvious. My partner and I must pursue unnatural enemies. So, get your coat, Merkaba. The game is afoot! But Mr. Shrooms, I really must give Shadow a full expression, I think. Fuck you, I'm out. Later, my dear fellows, later. Our carriages are waiting downstairs already. You haven't changed one iota, have you? I mean, really. I visited our home after 10 long years, and when I open up my chest, I feel the nostalgia. I quite expectedly get passed out. And if I wasn't enough, when I eventually gain consciousness, I'm plummeted straight into all this. Father, please. Go with Mr. Shrooms for now. What? I have no idea what have happened. You're acting for everyone's best interest. I trust you completely. That is so. And sending the great detective and his great partner off to round adventures together. And more than I can hope for in the wider streams. Very well then. I'll speak to you later. So, I believe our own work is done for today. I wish you best of luck tomorrow. Mr. Naruto, good luck in the battle. Reaching your decision. A decision? Going back to Japan, I suppose. Whee!
So much happened that day that I barely knew what to do with myself. It would only be later that I'd come to realize how amidst the chaos I'd unleashed were all the clues I needed to finally unearth the truth, and that all the turmoil was necessary to give me the resolve to see everything through.
Wait, the end? Wait, this is the end of the chapter? Holy shit. I mean, the last chapter is pure just a trial. Final chapter. The resolve on Esuke Nahodo. We might end the game tonight. Huh. Which means Lego stream next on Monday. Remember, 9:40, Old Bailey Defense Arcs Chamber. So, the time has finally come. Today, we unravel everything. I'll be counting on you to support me more than ever today, Miss Hadasso. No! Miss Hadasso? Ah! My spine! Ah! Oh god! Oh, why? Why do you always do this to me? Nothing. I'm just saying I'm relying on your support today, but... Oh, I'm sorry, of course. I know I can be rather incompetent at times, but... I shan't let you down. Would you mind helping me to my feet then? Oh dear, I'm really sorry. Surprising, I suppose. She found out her father was partner of the great mistake for a famous detective. Not to mention. Good morning, sir. Lord Dracula, good morning. Bleh, thank you for all your efforts yesterday. What? Did I hear that correctly? Bleh, nani? Oh, no, nothing. I just hope you clear things up today. I clearly can't mention it. His face says I hate you, but his words are almost jovial today. In fact, he hasn't been very Reaper-like at all since it all began yesterday. Lord Van Zeke isn't the Reaper, Mr. Naruto. Good point. Blair, the Reaper, I suppose it's in hindsight. I should have allowed that misconception to go unchallenged. Huh. But it was take down my acceptance in Posodium. Blair must fail to stop the Reaper as becoming something more than a mere legend and all this. But don't display as Lord Van Zeke. It's only because of the serious crime the capital dropped off so sharp when the public started calling you that. That would you didn't say anything at all, wasn't it? Blair. To be frank, I'm not sure that's the sole reason. What do you mean? There was a rumor at the time that the Reaper was really a ghost of my late brother. That having been slain by the evil killer, Kit's restless spirit returned to some sort of demigod, and wielded a deadly blade of justice where I, by dint of the law, could not. Yes, we've heard that story too. Blair. When I lost him, I felt though I'd lost my guiding light. I didn't know what to do. And so, in some small way, I wonder if perhaps those rumors made me feel his absence a little less keenly. Blair, even I knew it was just an illustration, the nonsense conjured up over the imaginary public. He was obviously extremely important to you. Well, Clint Van Zeke. Well, what's important now is uncovering the truth. That's all that matters. Blair. I know you didn't take anyone's life. I intend to prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt in the court today. Blair, I never thought I'd say this, but I can see it in your eyes. That burning desire to cut through all the lies and deceptions. I can't deny it any longer. You are a lawyer of absolute integrity. Thank you. I hate integrity. I prefer outegrity. It's much better. So tell me, why did I detect some scent of expensive tea lies in the air? Oh, Iris, when did you get here? Oh. I bought some tea from one of my special blends. He really loves it. He helped to help clear his head. Blair, thank you. Oh. That's surely the first and last time I'll ever see a sight like this. You seem different today, Iris. Oh. Sort of subdued, I suppose. I am not! Yesterday, obviously still playing on her mind that a lot. She's clearly very troubled over having stolen that autopsy report from Dr. Shive's laboratory. Alright then, good luck to you both. If the prosecutor gets you any trouble, I'll shoot him. No, he's my best friend. I'll shoot you instead. Wait, no. Oh, you're not saying. I think you wanted to watch today's proceedings. Well, I'd like to cheer you on, obviously. But I got a lot to get ready. Get ready for what? Oh yes. Would you take this? Is that one of your little felt dolls you've been dangling around your knapsack? Yes, a lucky charm. A little Hurley's that I made once. A Hurley? Looks more like a Haley to me. Dun dun dun! If you have some reason I can pull it right out of prison to trial today, you just pull this little Hurley's ear, and as hard as you can. What? Pull his ear? That's right. It's a way to bring good luck. It's also C4 inside. If one of the things will detonate it. Pull the ear now. A charming little rabbit version of Mr. Sholmes. Suppose it's how Iris sees him. Are you alright, Mr. Nato? Your eyes are virtually boring into the poor doll's eyes. Oh, sorry. It's just wondering. What do you suppose would happen if you were to tug its ears with all my might right now? I'm sure you'll find out in time is right. To become proper gentlemen, you must learn to stoic patience. But I want to know! I would be surprised if they sold that in Japan when this game came out. You think it is luck? Just sneak a peek inside the courtroom. And it seems very different than normal. Blah. Yes, it would seem that a certain someone has decided to pull out all the stops. What does that mean? You have to propose this case while running on a treadmill, while juggling balls and eating pie. If you drop any, I'm utterly guilty. That's bullshit. Where is Mr. Sholmes, Iris? I don't know. He was out all night, and he hadn't come home by the time I left this morning. Oh, I see. Does Professor Mercury out all night again too, think, Mr. Satiso? Yes, it would seem so. The telegram to the hotel this morning. And apparently they didn't come back to their rooms last night at all. They? Father and Judge Shiriki, I mean. That's right, none of us have seen any of them since yesterday. Oi, 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 cancel the defense and the defendant. The court is about to be in session. Please make your way inside the courtroom at once. Good luck then, Reno. Good luck, Susie. Yes, thank you, Iris. And you too, Mr. Reaper. Hope all goes well. Blah. Once again, I thank you for the delicious tea. It was very soothing. Oh, I'm so glad. Let's go inside now. Lord Van Zeeks. Blah. I know I've worked at the court for 10 fucking years. I've been here longer than you. Levin's always been the formidable prosecutor I've had to lock horns with in court, but not today. Today, I'm battling with another in pursuit of the truth. My best friend, Cosmo Asogi, who I trusted more than anyone else in the world. You understand what drew me here to Britain all these months ago. Now I want exactly what the destiny has in store for me. It's all been leading up to this one day, this one trial, this one final reckoning. Feel the power. The 3rd of November, 9:30 AM, the Old Bailey courtroom. Feels even more oppressive here than it did yesterday. The court stairs piercing like knives from all sides today. Mr. Nato, look. Oh, motherfucker! Oh, we are fucked. Lord Strongheart. Cosmo must have known beforehand. The ramifications of the trial extorted friends beyond the murder of Scotland Yard Inspector. In fact, the events have come to light that threaten to mock the very foundations of our courtroom legal system. The escape of the condemned criminal might, on the night of his execution, subsequently unfold the shooting of the man, and the revelation that the prison itself must have been complicit in the jailbreak. Britain is currently under individual members of the judiciary of countries all around the world. It's imperative that we must uncover the truth in these proceedings and avoid international embarrassment. By royal decree, I will now continue the court and close trial, and of which I, Mel Strongheart, executes the total and unequivocal authority. The 6 jurors just flames? As with the case yesterday proceedings, those present in publicly are distinguished members of the judiciary, assembled to bear witness to the fair judicial process. Blah. In other words, a collection of your acolytes, Lord Van Hart. On a personal note, I must find distressing Lord Van Zeek. You are a prosecutor of the exceptional talent. Much like your brother Clint, in fact. Don't bring Clint in this, you asshole. He uses a unicorn hammer. In the name of His Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare the court in session. For the trial of Bon Van Zeke. I firstly stand accused of murder. Where are my doves? This isn't your office, sir. You don't have doves. Then go get them. Fine, I'll be back later. Counsel for the prosecution and defense. Are you in full readiness to proceed? Yes, defense is ready, my lord. As the prosecution. Understand the proceedings brought to light the shocking, disturbing fact. There was a side of the victim's Inspector Tobias Gregson that was unknown to the superiors of Scotland Yard. Yes, he was carrying out up to operations in secret, which Scotland Yard knew nothing about. And there was cast-line operations that had an accomplice. Mr. Daily Vigil. Mr. Daily Vigil. For fuck's sake. Who would be given inspector's identification and present himself around the capital in order to establish credible allies for Gregson. In other words, Gregson appeared to be carrying out his regular Scotland Yard work. In fact, he wasn't. At the end of the day, at the end of yesterday's session, Mr. Vigil, who had been suffering from amnesia, regained his memories. He buried his memories in time deep inside himself, mere self-preservation. Because whilst he was engaged as the chief wanderer at Balcony Prison, he had betted that the agreement was set to convict. Mr. Vigil was currently recuperating at St. Seniors. He recovered enough and gave a signed statement about his movements the day prior to the incident. He's fully admitted to posing as Dr. Grettings whilst investigating the Redhead League. Which brings us to the council, which brings us crucial issue of the victim's time of death. The Register proposed a suggestion that the victim may have been killed on one day earlier, as based largely on the discovery of this victim's pocket watch had not been wound. The prosecution has something to report on that subject, my lord. Really? Go ahead, Prosecutor Shogi. I met once again with the coroner yesterday to discuss the issue. She confirmed the defense suggestion could not be ruled out. But entirely possible that Inspector Gregson was killed on the 31st October, the day before the body was discovered. I have here an updated autopsy report, including amended details. Izuku Young Midoriya, thank you so much for the follow. I hope you're enjoying the stream. But the official option of the investigating team was made clear yesterday. The time of death was 5 PM on the 1st of November. Their incidents attempted to disguise the real time of death, however. It seems that the natural decay process of the victim body may be resolved by keeping it chilled. That is out of question. There's no refrigerator devices in that part of London large enough to accommodate the human corpse. My lord, it's more than just conjecture. The evidence supports the idea and must investigate it thoroughly. Very well. The court will accept the new report as evidence. However, the updated report has been deemed to be accurate, but given renewed significance to the moments of the victim the day before the Professor Street incident. It would, yes. Especially since that, on that day, Inspector Gregson was using Mr. Vigil to cover up his movements. An inconvenience that he had been killed on course secret activities. To attempt the prosecution has information regarding his activities. Scotland Yard has put enormous efforts in investigating the priceless matter yesterday. I think we should begin by presenting the results of that investigation to work. The prosecution, because the first witness now. It's going to be Gina, isn't it? Hi, Gina. I was right. State your name and occupation for the court. Inspector Gina Lonsday. Reporting. Reaper Sensitive, York, Scotland Yard. Self-confirmed rank, but never mind. Gina again? What's your port motto? What's with that? Gina again. Look at her. Yeah. The boss meant the world to me, and he'd done more than any of us ever did. Oh, Inspector Gregson, you mean? He got me out of the back sums and took me under his wing. Told me the life I can have a purpose. That's why I'm the best person standing here speaking for him. Oh, Gina. Right, all of the goodness of Gregson's heart. Not all that his arms twisted by Sherlock Holmes know. So the development of these proceedings is the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigation yesterday. Let me update the stream because it's the other final case. I've updated the stream to say it's now the final case. As well as the victim carried out some assignments of police work no one's known about. Very troubling. That face looks somewhat new. So, Inspector Lonsday, let's see exactly what was in that report. Coming right up, sir. All the yard detectives are supposed to follow the orders and investigate what you told them. But a little search of old bosses turned up this notebook and a load of secret meetings in it. According to that, the boss was looking into some smuggled goods dealing in that day. Looks like it was all a big job and all, but the coppers weren't onto it yet. What matters most is the witness what saw the Reaper in that place too. Smuggled goods? I don't know, do I? Just tell me what's written in the book. Tobacco, tea, spice, and medicines. All good sorts flow into London by illegal channels across the globe. Well known for their disposal of regular black markets that take place in the capital. But the police are rarely able to locate them in time. Inspector Gregson was investigating one of the black markets. He has been suggested to high-ranking government officials that they involved in black market activity. No doubt Gregson was trying to avoid the details of his investigation being linked to involved parties. He explained why he's operating on his own authority without the yard's knowledge. I know where the dealing was taking place at the time. I believe the room at certain conclusion for London Gentlemen's Club. On the day in question, the accused is known to have been there. That's the conclusion Scotland Yard investigated in the matter. That can't be. We haven't heard anything about any of this. Members of the club are testified to it. There's no question. The accused, Von Zik, was present. That'll be a very stupid testimony then. Oh my, but Von Zik's made no mention of this at all. In short, Lord Von Zik had ample opportunity to murder the victim. Oh, very well. Counsel for the defense. Begin your cross-examination. All the yard detectives are supposed to be following orders investigating what they were told. So, you followed orders too, do you agree, Gina? Nah, not me. I'm above all that, see? Oh. But always had special orders for me. Grab us some fish and chips. Go and give Toby his grub. All that kind of thing. So, errands more than orders then. This detective is still an apprentice after all. Yeah, wow. This apprentice ain't got one to sit around and wait for you to be told what to do. Even by the boss. That's why I've been doing my own investigation on what happened. I didn't find much at first. But a little search of the boss's office turned up his notebook, loads of secret meetings in it. So you went through the Inspector Gregson's things? Yep, as part of the independent Let's Say investigation. I'm sure he's supposed to be delighted that you're taking the initiative. So I snuck into his office and no one else was about. Of course, if anyone else in the yard had seen me on there, I'd have toughed me straight into the street. It's sounding less and less like an investigation and more of like something else. The prosecution understands that it is very detective who discovered the notebook. You got it right, nothing gets past Inspector Lonsday, Trustee Assistant Chief Inspector Toby. We found it in the desk with a false bottom. That's impressive. So I went to I myself, could find it so I could have butchered what written in it. Because if anyone in the yard found out, I'd have toughed me straight to the street. Ha! I've given it now though. And if it weren't for me, no one would ever found. I'm wonder if boss was looking into something smuggled goods dealing that days.
Hold it!
Do you have any idea what those dealings were taking place? Yep. It's all in the boss's notes. Let's see, can I remember? I've already said that illegal dealings were due to take place in a gentleman's club. Yes, I remember. I was hoping to find out the name of the club. That won't be necessary. Nani? The typical of the club might be used again by the smugglers in the future. All good legally. Therefore, the prosecution will be asked to reveal the name of the proceedings. Since you just got back, I'll tell you what you missed. This is Sholmes' assistant. This is John H. Wilson. John H. Wilson was actually Sadaso's father. That's pretty much about it. We got Clint autopsy report. Gregson was about to leave the country. Toby tried to kill me. Which means there's a good chance that Yuki is also Iris' father. Which means Sadaso is Iris' older sister. Therefore, the prosecution has been asked to not reveal the names of those proceedings. I don't want to fuss about. Right here, I've all got it read it out. I could too. I've got reading game buttoned down now. Can't show you what I can do. Go on. What's the arm? The judge hasn't signaled any objections yet. I could try and find out. Should I do? And the passport says within 1 week of October 31st. So he has up until October. He has up until November 6th to get out. This of course completely confidential. There shouldn't be any possibility of the information being leaked. As I explained, there is some possibility of politicians being involved in this affair. Politicians is rightful excuse in the caution, I imagine. No, my lord. The prosecution has no objections. He is very angry at Kazuma. There's no question the Inspector Gregson was looking into these black market dealings, however. It's not yet established that he was on that particular trail that day in question. The defense requires to know the Lord Succum's name. The prosecution has no intention of obstructive. Right then. I get to show off my reading skills. Apparently, a smuggled good was going to happen. Gentleman's club called the Grouse.
Hold it!
The Grouse. So the Grouse is some sort of club, that is. Ain't got the foggiest. Club ain't exactly my thing. But I'm kind of curious. There's no place for a fun still like yours that would be readily admitted. Have you looked in the mirror recently? I tell you what. Me and Chief Inspector Toby were going undercover. Could you, though? I could pick out a few good marks. See what else I could find out if one was there. I really don't think you should go picking out anything. Anyway, was it the black market dealings there took place, is it? Yeah, gotta be. That's what lower ranked detectives, yeah, I'd reckon. Says the even lower ranked detective. It's not a big job and all, but the coppers aren't in on it yet. What the matter with most of it is the witness what saw the Reaper in his place too. Whoopsie, that was testimony. That's all I got to work with. She's not holding back this ice cold stare of hers, is she? I really don't know what to make of all this. Lord Van Ziegler told us that she was investigating Inspector Gregson. But he never mentioned Inspector Gregson before the incident. You think Lord Van Ziegler could have been lying to us, do you? That's the only way. That's not the only way to explain this. Oh, if everything Lord Van Ziegler told us is true, then there must be a mistake in the testimony somewhere. You mean there's details we've yet to uncover? Exactly. Clue perhaps that even Gina hasn't noticed. She's looking for here. I accidentally skipped too far forward. Looks like the big paint job on all copper wasn't on it yet. So how had the Inspector Gritton come about this place? That's the question, ain't it? But I'm just a present, so why didn't he inform the Scotland Yard of his findings? Yeah, that's what I was asking myself, because, you know, I'm just an apprentice. When it suits you, yes? Anyway, the point is, Devon went on to that club, no question. You can't use safe for certain though, surely. What matters is that when the witness saw the Reaper at the place too.
Hold it!
What Van Dijk was at the club? He was. The detective who visited the club yesterday making inquiries confirmed it. Several members are reporting him having accused being admitted to the room in question as a guest. Looks like there's no disputing that he was there then. We know Lord Van Dijk was investigating Inspector Gregson, don't we? Hope you already discovered the Inspector's secret notebook. Which led him to the club, you mean? Maybe. Presumably then, there was also eyewitnesses that can testify that Gregson was there. Not have identified this time, no. So all the important victim wasn't seen, yet the mysterious club. Oi! What'd you ask him, Von St. Spectacles about, eh? So that's all. Look, there's some sort of steamship ticket. The SS Grouse, first class cabin. Oh, I found the missing evidence. Oh, that's the boat Professor Mokobo's judge came back from Japan, isn't it? Yes, I think it's called the Durkin North Coast of France. Night before it finally arrived in Dover. I think the most of the year since we arrived in Dover at the SS Berry. See this shame not to keep the ticket and membership, do you think? Yes, I agree. I've mainly safe for diary. Keeps mine in my wallet with me at all times. Oh, how strange. Where could it have gone? Are you like doing this on purpose, Mr. Dodo? I did imagine it was compartment contained a little insight. Grover was a ship. Grover was a ship.
Objection!
The gas was a ship, not a stop. I've read about these clubs that exist in Britain. But I understand it. The places where the well-to-do gentlemen socialize with friends and colleagues. I'd imagine, for a second, the foreign student like you would never be admitted. Seriously? You're a mirror cracked or something? We do know for sure that the contraband dealing with has really happened in the club, the Grouse. The police are currently looking into evidence. We haven't found anything definitive yet. And I'm sorry to say, but they probably won't. What do you mean by that? I mean, the place Inspector Gretchen was secretly going to visit on 31st October may not have been a gentleman's club at all. You're showing very irrelevant attitude towards the country's police force then, Mr. Consul. If that wasn't a gentleman's club, then what was it? A steamship. You think? It's a ship? I have evidence to prove it. Here. Let me see that. This dark-suited man, not least bit untrustworthy. The other side, my lord. Oh yeah, Strongheart's running this one, and like you walk in like you're like, oh, we're fucked. Be more specific next time. Ah, does it appear to be a ticket for a passenger upon a steamship? Yes. The SS Grouse.
Objection.
So, there's a steamship named the Grouse. It just happens to share the name of the club. But I'm afraid to say, there's a flaw in your logic there. How? Look at the ticket. Notice the date of arrival on the port. You have arrived at the port in Dover on the 1st of November. Ah, the day in which the sound like the gunshot was heard on the French street. In other words, on the day in question here, 31st October, was when the victim was on his Shinsen mission. The ship had not yet docked at the British shores. That would certainly make an uncovering investigation somewhat challenging.
Objection.
The fact that the steamship hadn't yet arrived in Britain substands the defense assertion the victim was investigating SS Grouse on the day in question. Then how does it show evidence that's your assertion? Very well. In that case, counsel for the defense. Present your evidence to the court now. Evidence that substantiates your claim that the victim was investigating SS Grouse on 31st of October. Whee!
Take that!
What is this? A passport for travel issued to the victim? Dated 31st of October. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that just one day before the inspector's body was discovered, there was a distinct possibility he wasn't even in the country. Order! Order! This document is for passage to France. It does appear to be officially authorized. The day before this discussed arrived in Dover. It docked on the northern coast of France for a night. According to my father, who was on board, the port of Durkin, France, that could possibly have taken the victim there. I'm impressed with this case, Senator. I certainly did not expect you to get your hands on that passport. What? What do you mean? You knew about it? They knew about this? Pushman straight for the trial has been laid down the Crown Preference Office. On the day before the incident, the victim was investigating contraband dealing in the London club. That's the outcome of the Scotland Yard's investigation and line of prosecution has been asked to follow. But personally, I didn't agree. I think the prosecuting officer is trying to hide something. Nani? I doubt they have broadly disproven their assertion. I intervened and revealed what something is meant to be. What are you playing at, Prosecutor Asogi? A court is forum for the truth, my lord. Which is why it's my duty to print all the facts, without exception. Let me guess. That's why your intentions from the outset were solicited. The reason Inspector Gregson has secretly made his way to the steamship deck in France is the day in question to carry out the mission for the Reaper. The Reaper? Order, order, order! What on earth are you saying, Counsel? The prosecution made an assertion that the country yesterday. Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of the man's cigarette hideout, he was killed. As everyone can imagine, by the Reaper's hand. But in reality, the truth is the opposite of that. What? Inspector Gregson wasn't investigating the Reaper at all. In fact, acting for the Reaper. So, you're saying that the mission undertaking was obviously an assassination. Bon Vizique has never carried out any of the actual killings. Whenever the Reaper's victims have lost their lives, he's always had a cast iron alibi. Which tells us he must have had an accomplice. And you're claiming Inspector Gregson. What you all think you're saying, eh? My boss would never do something like that. And yet, when you consider all the facts, it's all that makes perfect sense. No, it can't be. We also had the same conclusion, didn't we? Inspector Gregson was operating as the Reaper. Even so, Even so, there's no way of one person giving him orders. It was Lord Van Zeke, not the true Reaper, and somebody else. Lord Van Zeke is not the Reaper. A predictable response from someone who is advocating for the demand. And even if the true Gregson was operating under the Reaper, there's a suggestion that they went aboard the SS Grouse, an assassination mission that doesn't follow at all. Oh? You have thought reason for doubting the rest of the assertions, Council? Absolutely. Very simple. On the day in question, nobody was killed aboard the steamship. Professor Merkabah and the Judge Shirky were on the very ship. If somebody being assassinated, certainly would have heard about it. Perth! What's so funny? You're right, of course. No suspicious death were reported death the ship. But I think perhaps you have missed the point. That's precisely why Inspector Gregson himself lost his life. What? Gregson did board the SS Gregson that night with the intention of dispatching on his mark. But this mission ended in failure. Failure? It's in defense. Hasn't yet grasped a very important detail here. What are you talking about? What you talking about, Willis? Inspector Gregson Lunday. What? Victim's notebook you had extensive earlier. It did not contain details of the secret investigations at all. It describes 10 years of assassination plots that carried at the Reaper and the Bailey. You're lying! Girls the bludgers what taken and coming. The boss wasn't the Reaper. Poor Gina. There's no question that Tobias Gregson was heavily involved with the Reaper's activities. You must be an apprentice. If you've spent any time in Scotland Yard, you must have heard some rumours. I heard nothing. I don't believe a word of it. Then testify again and represent of Sergeant Lard. Consider it your chance to defend your boss. I concur. Witness will give a new formal testimony. Miss Lonsday, if you will tell the court everything you know about Inspector Gregson's notebook. Yeah, the notebook had lots of stuff. What Reaper got up to his past 10 days. Named the victims, dates and places and stuff. Lost entry there was 31st October. It said grouse as the place of the date and then the name of the mark. There was a note about him being a criminal got away from the Reaper court 10 years ago or something. To be honest, the boss didn't do none of it. It was investigating the Reaper, that's all. Give your personal opinion and your testimony, witness. I require you only to establish fact here. Must be so hard for her. You cannot deny it now, surely you're not scared of it all. What can I deny? The book contained named the final mark and the location of where the assassination would take place. The information the victim only had known was looking for the Reaper. Ah. So what is the final mark? Go ahead, Inspector, and say, read the name for the court. Name that right alongside the entry of the mentions of Gareth on 31st October. I do read this then. Reading still not strongest suit. You're not with reading, Otto. It's a funny name. It ain't English. It's hard to read. Is that from you overseas? Let me have a bash at it. Shinshiro, is it? Yeah, Shinshiro. Joker. What? Yes, it can't be. Shinshiro Jikoki? But that's Judge Shiryoki. Shinshiro Jikoki. It's certainly not an English name. You're wrong.
Objection.
That can't be right. You know Judge. I know Judge Shiryoki. I saw him the day before yesterday in London. I know the fact that the man hasn't been assassinated. As I said, the Reaper has failed. Oh. Gregson missed a chance to kill his bark and return to British shores. The Reaper wouldn't tolerate his mistake. So he killed the inspector personally. Reaper, of course, is being accused. Brock Van Zeke. An undeniable logic argument. Kazuma, that's all speculation. You have no a hint of proof to it. I wrecked my pants again, but it was worth it. Perfect in the discovery of following the hallowed chalice of Stand accused of murder. Lord Van Zeke? Accused of not speaking and advising in court, you will now return to the dock. I said nothing of whether I am not the Reaper, but the task is court to decide. But there's one thing I can say unequivocally. The girl is not a detective. Eh? What? That ain't right, ain't it? I'm an inspector. Repeating rumors heard by the yard, reading entries on a notebook of an unconfirmed origin. That's not testimony, that's practically a script. No doubt the rest of the trial is going exactly as you've clearly planned. What does mean it's understandable. In your mind, I'm sure that I am the Reaper, who sent your father to his gallows those years ago. But you are in the danger of becoming a far more sinister Reaper yourself, by attempting to have me condemned with a feeble excuse of my testimony. What did you say? Mr. Nardo, this is our chance. My lord, you must request the defendant be allowed to speak. He may be privy to important information relating to testimony given by the witness. Very well. I'll make an exception to grant the request. The defense may remain in the witness stand for the cross-examination. Bleh, then allow me to toss the court impartially. Don't raise a glass in my direction, sir. Counsel for defense. Begin your cross-examination immediately. Ow! Right once more. Which do this, Erdno Mousy? Sorry, it's gonna be pushing. It's gonna be pushing the facts until Von Zeke reacts. Yeah, this notebook does have a lot of stuff in about what the Reaper got up to the past 10 years. I'll not burn the weak. I can't. They launch fireworks in here. It's flame-proof. In other words, you showed Gregson basically reacting to the Reaper. Not at all. Ain't only explain it is. You could have been investigating the Reaper in Stik. The notebook was found out. Bleh, if I may. Other people began referring to it as me and the Reaper. I did not object. I believe the power to imitate London's criminal class was a compliance to the law of the profession. You carried out your own investigation into the true identity of the Reaper, didn't you? Bleh. Yes. And those investigations proved conclusively that Gregson was one arm of the Reaper. One arm? What are you saying about? The Reaper's victims were all extremely shrewd and criminals on top of their game. Simply no way one person could have taken them all alone. The Reaper is an organization. With you at its head. I had spies in the company are keeping a best of Gregson's movements, letting me know when he is elsewhere. So I've been able to check the most recent entry of his book, knew the location. You know it said grass. Believing to be referring to the Gentleman's Club, I went there on the day in question to investigate. Alone. Ah, so that explains why 7 members of the club came to see you there. But of course, the inspector was not there. Because at the time, he was making his way to the extreme tip dock of the northeast coast of France. As shown with the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. Very well then, back to your testimony about the content of the notebook. Something wrong, Senator? You seemed a little shocked by something a moment ago. Oh, sorry, this mouse is whispering dark secrets to tell me to kill everyone instead of solving the case. It's really distracting. The names of the victim, the place and stuff, all been to here. 31st October. Names of the victims, dates, and places and stuff. What in particular? Well, besides the victim's name, the other names kept coming up. What other names was that? It's been one I told yesterday, the same name written all over again. You mean... Assassin? Yeah, that's the one. She's a friend of yours somewhat, isn't she? You're listening... were you even listening yesterday? Assassin. The assassin? What? Like, a killer, you mean? Gregson is a tactician. The one who came up with the plan to attack, investigation the marks thoroughly, and finding out when they'll be vulnerable, and who used to get to them. But the project was already including these plans somewhat else, as they're saying. If that's true, then the Reapers does indeed sound like an organized group of vigilantes. Ah, then perhaps you said in the passport document. Permission for the application of one additional person to travel. That could be additional person could have been. Clearly, the assassin, who was set to take Assassinos took his life. Gina, can you confirm that against the final entry of the Grasses Society? What name was written? Well, that's the only entry that didn't have a name next to it, as it happens. What? It's just like the question mark at the summit here, I think. In other words, Gretchen himself didn't know the identity of the assassin in that case. But Gretchen was the one making the plans. He was he not. Oh, how infuriating. The nameless assassin. It's that grouse for the place, the date, and then the name of the month.
Hold it!
Are you sure they're saying the mark is listed as Sensory Joki? That's what I said! Funny name, if you ask me. I thought her name was odd. So please have lost the crown. So please have lost my crown here. Mr. Joki is the presiding judge in Japan's Supreme Court Judiciary. Well, I remember the man. He came to our country as a visiting student 16 years ago. Studying international law, diplomacy under your tutelage, Lord Strongheart. That bad, the young fella. It's very able man, I must say. So Lord Strongheart was a judge and Joki was a mentor. If I'm not mistaken, you returned to Japan 10 years ago now. 10 years ago, after the fateful case. Precisely. The aftermath of the present case, the reposition was organization immediately. It's a mystery that why such a man would be listed in the inspector's notebook. I didn't think it was possible, but the mood here has got worse now, but I'll just keep talking. There's no doubt in being a criminal away from the Reaper in 10 years ago, somewhere. You mean the criminal? Jutsuki is not a criminal. Well, don't ask me. I got nothing about it. Oh. Do you remember what Father told us? The Judge Joki was once appeared in court for the Britain. Related to Fister case, I'm sure. Yes, of course. That you're right. Joe was trying to was a military just in guilt. So he took the stand and testified. But he got a little carried away and actually mentioned the break the witness stand. You also had some consumptions. You also had some contemptuous words about the British Empire, which was changed. Blair. It's a pitiful situation, yes. I'd forgotten all about it. But I persecuted the child as so it happens. You did? I was considered to be the adjutant professor proceedings this year. But they acquitted after being told to make a representation for the damage caused to the stand. And there you have it. Have what? Surely the accused hasn't forgotten his own rule. There is no saving anyone from the faces of the Reaper in the court, guilty or innocent alike. What? What? No! Are you suggesting that the reason Judge Juki was targeted as an assassination? The man had sent back to Japan immediately after retire. The Reaper had no time to do his work. But then, 10 years later, the mark returns to Britain once more. Perhaps now you can start to see just how vindictive the Reaper is. Come on, that's absurd. To take someone's life for that? Isn't the whole premise of the Reaper absurd, of killing those who have been found innocent? Clearly, the rules of which the man operates are beyond the sane person's comprehension. But alright, I've just been enough of this. Gina. All this nonsense about the boss's plan to kill the people. It's a cobber. Come on, Otto. Yes. Why'd you say nothing? Why aren't you yelling out objection or something like that? What? You gotta find a flaw. You usually do. Someone is lying here. Good question. They've got to be working out who it is. Please, for the boss. That's an that outburst was an insult to the cause and your own testimony. I might have known that the common pickpocket from the back slums couldn't make a detective. When the trial is over, you'll be fit your warrant card and besides day, and that clear. I've had it with a lot of ya. Lies and bleeding place. Look at the world in it. I've done enough. Gina. So have I. After those procedures, I've made up my mind. To do 1% I know. There's one point in this cross-examination where something that just didn't sit right with me. One statement that seemed odd. Oh, do you mean? I'm not going to let Gina's plea for help fall on deaf ears. Come on, help! You gotta find the flaw somewhere. Is it the autopsy report? It might be the autopsy report.
Objection!
Nope.
Objection!
I wasn't either. Let's tell me the final case because this is very convoluted. What's supposed to be wrong? No, don't pull on the ear moment.
Objection!
I firmly looked over the chest. I did that. Why are the ticks gone? Nothing new there.
Objection!
It's too early for the rabbit.
Hold it!
I'll take you, Gina. Help me find my resolve. What do you mean? Aren't everything we've heard during the cross-examination? There's one thing that defies explanation. One inconsistency. Nutty? What inconsistency? Really, Otto? I don't quite know what it means yet, but... Yes, there's inconsistency somewhere that was said by... Gregson was gonna...
Take that!
There's definitely something strange about that. What didn't add up? Did you see in the statement by this person?
Objection!
People are gonna be inconsidered whatever they say if they don't actually testify. But in case you didn't notice, person accusing event. Okay, has to be someone from the stand.
Take that!
Was by you, Lord Van Zeek? Me? Blah, what? Face turned to Ashton. How could you have known? What are you thinking? My face has turned to Ashton. It's because I am thinking, how could he? Okay. So it's a person who's been on the stand. These three, these two, him, and Gina.
Take that! Objection! Take that! Objection!
Well, I think it's Gina.
Take that!
Of course, by you, Gina. What's that supposed to mean, eh? Gina, though. You're the person giving the testimony here, so... If there's any inconsistencies, you can only have been introduced by her. I don't know where you're going with this, but I may have evidence you're obviously about to show that will clarify. And in that case, the defense will not present evidence to substantiate your claim. To which piece of evidence does the alleged inconsistency relate? Oh god, it's very convoluted.
Take that!
It's this. It's prison. It's the final case, so it is very convoluted. So it's Lord Van Zeke.
Take that!
Of course, by you, Lord Van Zeke. Me? What? Professor's actually, I'm thinking. I don't know where you're going with this, but maybe the evidence you're about to show the court will clarify. In that case, the defense will present evidence to substantiate the claim. To which piece of evidence does the alleged inconsistency relate? I'm pretty sure it's the photograph. Because they're like best of fucking friends.
Take that!
I'm about to present this evidence, but you leave me no choice. Consider this, Lord Van Zeke. Your feelings are correct. Presenting that evidence was a mistake. I suggest you withdraw it. Sorry. Good advice. Because you turned the deadly ash on. Bah. I hope the Reaper does not hold that against you. Ah. Fingers crossed. This is...
Take that!
I am not presenting random. I am trying to do my own little strands of logic, but I just can't seem to find the right one.
Take that!
It's something Lord Van Zeke should know about.
Take that!
Everyone wants to goddamn use the bunny.
Take that!
Am I actually losing a life for this? I, I, I don't think I lose a life. Wait. Is it maybe Karuma? Kazuma?
Take that!
The music stopped. Are you, Kazuma Sogi? Me? I think some attempt at flabbergasting. Consort? Professor Sogi has given no testimony. What are you suggesting? It was inconsistent. You had something slip that you shouldn't have. When I was present for relevant testimony evidence, I imagine you realized you've done it. Ugh. Mouse talks like a genie. What evidence reveals alleged instances with the prosecution's associates said?
Take that! Take that!
This trunk might belong to Inspector Gregson. A metal construction, is it? It's certainly very heavy. What's this? Bloodstain? Really fresh one too. What? You mean that ain't grease from all the boss's fish and chips? Blah, fresh blood on the inspector's trunk. This suggests that the victim travelling with their luggage was when it was killed. It can't be. There's no mention of any trunk in Scotland Yard reports. Yes, there is reason for that. Immediately after Inspector's body was discovered, one of the street peddlers made off with the trunk, hoping to sell it. But I found it, me, with my nose for trouble. Which means nobody should have known anything about the trunk. Unless, of course, you're talking about somebody who was present when the victim was killed. Oh, and yet, during the cross-examination for the witness just now, you said this, Kazuma. Because of the time he was making his way to the deemed deck of northern coast of France, it's on the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. The question is, how do you know about the victim's trunk? We know the man went to France to the fence. Where else would he put his passport?
Objection!
But you knew the metal trunk. Now, to be honest, Kazuma, on the 30th of October, where exactly were you? At the port of Durkhead, on board the SS Grouse. That's the answer you're looking for, Nosuke? Kazuma, what did you... I hadn't considered the possibility before, but if Kazuma was there on the ship, then he could only have been for one purpose. What Heavens, Mondo, surely you don't think... Ha 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 ha! Oh, come on, Roscoe. You know the rules. And so do I. Only thing that really makes in this courtroom is hard evidence. I understand that Inspector Gregson always took the case with him when he travelled. So as it stands, you have no proof that nothing. I bet the massive sword slice in the side of the case. Are you challenging me to prove? Are you challenging me to prove it beyond all reasonable doubt? Is that what you was on that day, the same place as the Inspector? He was there with Gregson. There's a clue you overlooked. The secret trunk can tell us. Gregson made deep disturbing, but nevertheless, we must test it. The defense will now identify the court where in the trunk is alleged clue to be found.
Got it!
This is your proof? What do you say to that, Professor Osugi? Personally, I think a China defense counsel with Inspector's trunk tossing into the sea would be more useful. What? At least that way, London courtrooms will be safer from the destructive execution. Brief is rather long-winded to say for telling what you're wrong, Snowdo. Very well. Let us see your secret swim under the weight of penalty, counsel. What? Good fuck! I was hoping never to let that happen, funnily enough. The facts will now defy that we found. Yes, I have to inspect it first. Have you seen this huge gash across the side of the trunk there? It's not right through the leather into the metal behind. Gosh, but just like this being badly damaged, it made a gash when we struck the side of the duck with considerable force. I wonder how it happened. Oh wait, is that a chunk of his sword? Do you see that? There's something stuck in the side. Yeah, it's glinting. Like a fragment of metal of some sort. It's wedged so tightly in I can't remove it. Well, don't cut yourself, it's better leave it, they think.
Got it!
There's a small piece of metal lodged in the wall of the trunk here. Like the tip of a blade. Eh? A blade? Kazuma, slung around your waist as ever today. The estimated black Kamama, Blade Kazama. Of course it is. Why'd you draw it here in the courtroom? For us to see. It's out of caution, man, not a friend. That man is the son of London's most notorious killer. Bailiff! What's Prosecutor Osugi with like a hawk? That won't be necessary. The tip is missing. Oh no! The tip is broken. The fragment of metal comes to chunk fits together with the end of that sword. The question of who was there with Inspector Gregson will be answered. Agreed, Kazuma Sogi. That's really done, Rinosuke. That's a point to you. That's well deserved. What do you mean the child of court, Professor Sogi? Yes, on the 31st October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission. The additional person authorized to travel was me. And the mission was assassination of the Mark. What? Is he gonna? Oh my fucking god! He's gonna throw himself under a bus and drag prosecutor with him. You mean that all the killers' names were written amid in the notebook, before the Ripper's orders to dispatch Judge Yoki. Let me make one thing perfectly clear. I've killed no one. Explain. I did the assassination mission, yes. Accompanied Gregson to Dunkirk, but I never actually intended to carry out the plan. You're never going to do it. We can believe him, I'm sure. After all, Judge Yoki arrived safely in London the following day. On the 31st, I boarded the train from the London to Inspector Gregson. We travelled to Dover, then we crossed the Channel to Dunkirk. When we boarded the SS Grouse, I made a cabin in the deck, indicated in the plan. You went to Judge Shuriken's cabin? Exactly. He wasn't there though. We decided to wait, but you've already told us he had no intention of going through with it anyway. I had not come to Great Britain to take anyone's life. I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. I spent the night boarding in a boarding house in the town and returned to England the following morning. Boarding the house in Dunkirk. My teacher will be in the register book. It will simply be enough to verify. Then, what became of Wickham and Tricky? There was no assassin, so the mark was spared. I'm sure it was easy enough to imagine what happened after that. He returned to England as well, having failed to complete his mission. Met with the Reaper in the room at Francis Street, reported the failure, causing the infuriated mastermind to pull the trigger. And the end, the wretched against his life. That's the real truth behind the Inspector Gregson murder.
Objection!
Blur. But if I did nothing, you would have the tip of your sword come to be lodged in the Inspector's trunk. I don't need to answer that. The victim was killed by a gunshot. A small fragment of a Japanese blade is irrelevant in the case. Hey, you're a prosecutor. You have a prosecutor gun, genius. According to that truth, exercise my right to silence in this matter. Be that as it may, the court will discuss the sword as evidence. As you wish, my lord. I mean, if he's a prosecutor, and all prosecutors are given the gun, let's take immediate action now to verify that whether the situation remains unharmed. Karuma, the great blade, such a thing of beauty, to gaze upon it for hours. The tip of the great sword, broken. Such a shame. It's been meticulously cared for years. Can you hear Karuma's sobs? Kazuma must have really taken a swing at that too for that to happen. What? Remained unharmed? I agree. We should be first with priority. It's recently come to my attention that this hasn't been seen since yesterday. How did you... When a foreign dignity invited to the Great Britain goes missing for 24 hours, it's only natural that the question of his safety should be arise. He just like starts pulling guns out of his coat, he pulls them out of his hair. He opens up the hilt of his sword, throw another gun inside it. The Reaper has more than one assassin at his disposal. He has the power of influence over give orders from inside the prison cell. Isn't that right, Lord Van Zee? Blur. If I were truly the Reaper, I'd be able to tell you. Order on the court. We'll take an emergency recess for 30 minutes. Now, yes, the symposium have been told to maintain regular contact with the Warden's office. The man has been located in half an hour. We will have to assume the worst. Oh no, Judge Yuki. No one want to kill a harmless man would want to arrive in country. Except that is for the Reaper, who waited to finish out the mark except through his 10 years ago. I would have to agree. Mr. Nardo, for the defense's sake, my lord, I sincerely hope we successfully are able to confirm Drago's healthy existence in 30 minutes. Or your face will face great difficulties. Why the fuck are you threatening the defense, you asshole? As my son, the Reaper's assassin. I feel through I'm in nightmare. I can hardly believe it either. But on the other hand, Cosmo isn't in the habit of making things up stories. I have trouble sense of foreboding. Sometimes get judge jerky. And I feel as if the things would go only spiral further out of control. I felt from the moment I stepped in the fucking courtroom. Strange sensation that we're careering towards a foreign conclusion. That's the worst case, we might only have 30 minutes left. Fortunately though, I don't think there's anything we can do but wait now. We're out of options. We can dance! Actually, there might be one last hand we can play. Or rather, one last ear. Of course. Mr. Sherm's doll gave us. Just pull its ear! You ripped its head off, what have you done? Oh no, I killed it! Just pull the hell's ear, and you possibly can. Do it! I'm the only mouse here! Kill the rabbit! What's I do? Here goes nothing. Here goes then. I'm doing it. Good luck, Mr. Nando. No looking back. Heave! Ow! That scream. Sounds like Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes? Where are you? Here, my dear fellow. Here. Is that Feltdoll talking? Pull the game, Mr. Nando, as hard as you can. Alright then. I'll put all my strength into it. Heave! Ow! Please, my dear fellows. You need to pull my ear off. Mr. Sholmes, where are you? Myself, my trusty partner. Apparently a first-class cabin area of the SS Gorge. The SS Gorge? Yes, she left over last night, and the final piece of cargo loaded. We're currently in the Dr. Durkin, but due to arrive underway in half an hour. You've taken a ship to France? Please, with everything, even with my power, I would surely jump us straight to Dover. After we left Baker Street that last night, we hurried to the cab to Tripod Port in order to board this vessel in time. So you mean you've already worked it out? The ship was where everything really took place? Mr. Naruto, pray, what's my name? Sherlock Sholmes, the world's famous detective. Recited perfection, mate. Well done. Oh jeez, Mr. Sholmes. That's the only word for it. Ow, 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 ow. Miss Edison, gently, this Ginny's ear, please. I'm ever so sorry. If I may, Sholmes. Ah, here you are, Macabre. If I remember, what was the first fact who made the connections to SS Gorge? At Scotland Yard yesterday, we examined that the notebook had recalled my steamship ticket. I'll see you tomorrow for games, Erdno. But of course, my dear fellow. No one said I covered the fact that we merely had your contraband considered in my name. Yes, you did, didn't you? We just entered recess. The trial will resume in 30 minutes from now. If we're unable to present any new leads then, I'm afraid to say... No fret, please. For precisely the purpose of my partner and I made the journey. You no doubt we shall welcome the news for you in half an hour. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. It would be wonderful. Till later then. Yes. We'll be hearing from us in 6 minutes. Ow, 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 ow. Sure that hearing everything's taking my ear is middle and mindless fashion. Whatever the idea behind making the receiver operate like that in the first place, Mr. Sholmes. Why to the deuce? Who should I know? Iris' invention, not mine. Whilst I know much about you enjoying being a hero, Mr. Sholmes, but you have half an hour that before Gregson puts to sea again. If we don't conclude the investigation rapidly, we shall find ourselves in Naples before long. There are times, Mekaba, when you make a surprising amount of sense. So, let us begin. Is it the guy's brother? First class cabin number 2, that's the one. I don't believe investigation of the cabin. It's going to be planned sailing. Crew standing in front of the door is an angry looking fellow. Why are you loitering here? Who are you? Hey there, fellow. You don't recognize the world's famous great detective when you see one? question is really ought to be, who are you? You don't recognize the world's traveling greatest sailor? Texting Stroganoff when you're seeing it. It says Sherms on his arm. Great detective, ha! I don't think so. Do you see that, Mickaber? It appeared that this man was a very follower of mine. Goodness, yes, that's a tattoo. It says Sherms. I must say, whilst adoration is flattering naturally, it does leave a little bit cold. What are you talking about? Leave now. How distressing, my lawyer Diverty. Knows me only by name and not by appearance. And yet, I already have a great deal for you, sir. You have a brother, I believe. Like yourself, a shipman. Currently traveling the world aboard the Russian steamship, in fact. How could you know this? Elementary, my name, Mickaber. I'm sure it was. 3 days ago, I was bound for London aboard a ship, you see. I was looking for some of my fellow passengers, a man named Joki. There was no one with his name aboard. But we know he purchased a ticket for passage. You mean the Eastern man? He left 2 hours ago. He's at Dunkirk. He said about emergency, I think. What? Are you sure? So I didn't realize he was after him, so he said, his cabin is one behind you. I shall investigate, please. No, I've orders not to let anyone inside. Mickaber, good man, draw his sailor's attention away, would you? Make up an excuse to leave him in this area. It doesn't look good to see that the sailor have ears both left and right. Curses! Their plan is ruined! You'll have yourself to blame, I'm afraid, Holmes. Forget it. Cabin door is locked. Even if I'm not here, you cannot get inside. Mickaber. I'm sure you haven't forgotten the special talent I have you. Opening any lock. So we have 5 seconds. So if you'd be so kind of afford me a question of time, my old friend, the double combination matter. And I can refuse such simple and appealing request, old friend. I instruct Billy Sailor for 5 seconds. What should I do? Good man! So, here's a game afoot. Oh no. What should I do? I know, I'll pull the fucking alarm! This would appear to be an alarm bell. And how prickly if that thing were to ring. The whole crew would know about it. Here goes nothing then. Pardon me in advance. Yo, what are you doing? We're at sea. We have a very bad problem. What's going on there? Steven Truman, report at once. There's nothing to report. Just a stupid trick. It was just a stupid trick. No, don't bite me. By the word famous. No, I told you. Now, Sherms, now. Done. Not even 5 seconds there. Well, don't stand there and gawping. Where is Mickaber? We're going in. Oh, yes. We phased through the door to get inside. The picture moved from that door to that wall for some reason. Goodness gracious. It appeared that the cock into the cabin did indeed bark rather than we hurried. All the clothes on the floor there. This serves without question. Well, it seems we're just a little too late. Yes, but about 2 hours. Still, whilst we're here, we should investigate thoroughly. There may well be 2 hours worth of clues to find in here. Brother Crewman may return any moment, Sherms. Indeed he may. Which makes it all the more thrilling. Why don't you just lock the fucking door? These are the rules of the passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Additionally, there are severe punishments for those stowing away in the wardrobes or travel clothes. I feel the rules have increased since last read them. Probably just my imagination. I bet the fact that they're not going straight to the wall doesn't strike you. You may be right. Probably just your imagination though. A trifle. But you know what I always say, Mekaba? There is nothing important about trifles. Probably the most just you might imagine. I think that might be slightly off. There's a speaker tube here, look. Although it's been stopped with clothes. The voices of the crewmen on the bridge aren't annoyance, I suppose. Or indeed, the voices of the car. Or the voices in the cabin aren't heard elsewhere. Could something like that have happened? Could something like that happen for no one else here, you think? Either that, or it could be to prevent the snakes from entering. That's really become a favourite case of yours, hasn't it? The witch of us looks at what's inside. Indeed, let us pry. Discover the reason I have perhaps been for exploring contents of other people's wastebaskets. Sincerely hope not for your work. Ah! Here we have a notice doing through the passages for 3 days ago. 3 days ago? The night before we arrived in London then. Why would I still be aboard myself? Following the departure of the Port Duncan, all crew members were required to assemble on the main deck. Hey, I was reading that, you bastard. Oh yes, it was an evacuation drill. Remember now. For safety and security, all first-class passengers were constantly under the watchful eye of the crew. So welcome relief to some privacy for once. I can't look at the case court records. According to the report given, Nodo was concealing himself inside his wardrobe. Indeed he was, and for a similar size to this one. Ah, must have climbed inside yourself, my dear fellow. What? Whatever for? It's outside my first fateful meeting with Nodo. You can experience the moment yourself, completely dramatic around. Come along now, go in. It'll take a moment. No, really, you should really just tell me what you did. I shot him in the face! It was hilarious! Well, I added some brilliant remark and opening the wardrobe, revealing the stowaway murderer. I think you just read about that in the Adventures of the Sherlock Holmes. Quite exquisite glass, if I must say. See here, see how... There's still ice in it. Is something wrong with Sholmes? Or something trailed off. Ice, Makoba, ice. It's unpaused first-class passengers enjoyed chilled drinks. Pardon? Could it be that the steamship's equipped with an electrical refrigerator cool room, do you think? Well, it's a luxury line after all. There's an enormous refrigerator storing all sorts of leverage produce and ice. Our voyagers from Japan enjoyed culinary delights from all over the world. Certainly, Makoba. The sight of you making my mouth water. I haven't been taken on the flavor of food yet I eat, you know. It's a very sizable trunk indeed. Those are parts of the little things large. Rather come to the fellow if you failed to notice he left that behind. Is he inside it? I feel he left it on purpose. Lighter than you might think, but still hindrance to speedy escape. Pity. It's locked. We can look inside. It's only 5 seconds now to go into a quiet entrance though. Sadly not. A 7-digit combination lock. And I'm not in a Morse enough mood to work through the combinations at present. A slightly different colour than just here. Do you see? Indeed. What you have observed arises from the frame being hanging from time I removed. Perhaps your friend is an art thief. Another blooded deduction of yours, worth a great detective, I'm sure. It may well be illicit thief who has been pledging a France galleys of late. I think perhaps you should focus on attention elsewhere, Sholmes, don't you? That other one, the wall. I feel though I might have spotted it something similar to that shape and size elsewhere. You're still here. Able seaman Soloff. Hello again. I was beginning to think you'd never materialize. You're waiting for me? Of course. I expect you to burst into with a hearty or some profanity from far. You're trouble with the captain because of chuckle bled before. Poor into the chicken. It's all your fault. The ship is leaving Pottswood. Get off, now. Of course, we shall disembark presently, my dear fellow. But first, there's something I must be done. What are you talking about? Well, naturally, debunking the deceit and the defending truth. Oh, we're doing another deduction? I'm afraid I see through your lies. For one thing, Mr. W has not yet left his vessel at all. Ugh. And another, it is storming Stroganoff. You know exactly where the man is, even though we speak, don't you? How can you? Good gracious, Sherms. Good gracious, Sherms. You mean you've worked it all out? All of it? It has really been too long, hasn't it, old friend? 10 years and no less. So, you'd have to care to join me for a dance of my logical reasoning. Nothing would please me more. What juice is this? Yeah. You bit minutes of vessel, but see, no games now. Is this going to be an automatic one? It's time for the it's time for the essence. Mr. Stroganoff, allow me to remind you of your earlier claim. You told us that Stroganoff left the ship 2 hours ago. That's what I said. Sadly, it rather becomes a lie. You see, there's something that machine is quite clearly contradicted at. What? Oh yes, of course. You see, you do know the two, Mr. Minotaur. Please then, do take the lead. In this cabin, one person possibly joking 2 hours ago. Let's see what the last 3 years I've done to your relation skills, Mr. Minotaur. It's been 10 years since I last did this, Sherms, not 3. Well, of course it has, quite. Now, it concludes the Alchem cabin for your eyes to see. But I always say, you must not merely look, but observe. Observe! That has become clear. So, impress me. I think I can manage that.
Take that!
Perhaps you should have cleared the way of the glass. How curious that the ice should have been melted despite being abandoned 2 hours ago. It appears that the man who is in this very cabin before our arrival. Is this well-chilled glass in hand? Get your mind off the refreshment, Sherms. One might even conclude that somebody informed him of our boarding. Would you agree, Mr. Stroganoff? But why would you run from us? Before we consider the question, allow me to confirm one more matter. Would it be correct saying that the first-class cabins of the SS Gauss are the same ones which you might joke were accommodated in Japan? That's right, they are. I was in the cabin next door, Subaru was, yes. 50 days in this very cabin during our voyage. As I suspected, for you see, there's traces of the cabin dark secret that Jokin was to hide. Traces? I know nothing about this. If the news to you, it is Mr. Stroganoff. Sherms, what exactly are you getting at? As I said, there were traces of the cabin for some activity. Something appears to be out of place, which I'm quite sure you wouldn't investigate or notice. Something out of place here? The key to this is Merkaba. Remember the dark deed took place here. Master, something more conspicuous. I must say, I don't foresee doing this dance of deductions for you again, Mr. Smoker. Not quite, but it's full of expected twists and turns. Well, no. Now then, let's see if I can uncover the truth here. Yes! You're on the floor, my fellow!
Take that!
Nakaba, the game's over in my words. They are not. Come Jones, it's always fun and laugh about little fooling around. You're right, quite right you are. That was a close shave. I better rethink this before I'm too full here. Here I am! Cries! Well, your method of never conventional. Then we'll give it a try. Dear God, open your eyes! The metaphor listening you're suggesting. Ah. See, is it this one? Or is it this one?
Take that!
Fucking hell.
Take that!
Of course, it has to be that side. There was a passage in the frame here. They're obviously out of place. While we're hanging crooked in the wall, as far as they'll put there in a hurry. Yes, I'm sure you've already concluded it. The frame was originally over here. The shape of the size is a perfect match. Duh, you're right. The frame has been moved. How the most observant crewman are you? Strong enough. You think the captain is quite justified in having this over Gah! Oh dear, that really seemed to hit a nerve. Sorry, Mr. Bagwell. Sure, why did you lift that frame off the wall? Is there any blood splattered there? A gunshot? That looks... a bullet hole! What? There's been shooting in the wall? I see, but that has been removed. Surely the fragment of the frame has already been disposed of. Now then, Mr. Stroganoff. Ugh. Have you the impression that you are attempting to shield said occupant? I don't know what you're talking about. Why would that giant protect Eastern stranger? Ah, so you're talking about the same man, I see. Good. Gah. I'm sure we can see the bottom of this in no time, aren't you? Because there's something very noteworthy of evidence that explains the reason why you're lying for the man. As I've been told to keep this pretense clearly home by. I don't know how to approach this one, Mr. Sholmes. My dear Macabre, simply keep your fingers principles in mind. Study your subject from every angle, and I'm quite sure you'll see it. In fact, I put a wager on it. I'm to glance the fellow from all sides and do that. Jesus Christ.
Take that!
It's almost as obvious as your words. Quiet! And universal language of the word. Money. Yog. I wager that there is no further question. This cinches you, okay? Yes. God. So I presume you've realized what it means. Your clear signs that your crime has been committed in this cabin, and the way you're going to, you'll find yourself accused of being an accomplice. But, I believe you know, Mr. Stroganoff. You and Mr. Jerky is hiding a precise moment in time. As always, Mr. Merkaba, matter of deduction, a fugitive glance at your unfulfilling ally. Yes, I think you're onto something here, Mr. Sholmes. I found the chink buried in the fellow's armor. If you've been following that man's gaze, you were to prior hiding. So I just pick up the pupils, remember to lay and blink. Nothing escapes my attention, even with which are barely perceivable. You could hardly call this barely perceivable times. The man turned his entire head. Not exactly what you describe as fugitive glance. Is that almost too obvious? Well, shall we tiptoe to the side of the fellow?
Take that!
You turned immediately to look at the large trunk, didn't you? Ugh. The truth is, the Joker is unable to escape from the ship in time, and is, at this very moment, doing the best to stifle his breath inside the trunk. If he still breathes it to take, I fear he may be running dangerously low in air. It Imagine didn't count on us making a nuisance ourselves quite so long. I think we'd better do everyone's best interest for us to open the trunk quickly as possible. But I can't wait. You're forgetting the combination lock. It's a digit code. It's on his arm. So, therefore, there must be an arrangement for somebody to open it after our departure. Of course. In short, that just looking himself inside the trunk, he must have told somebody else to serve the number lock. I'm sure they'll confirm Stroganoff. Go. No, I know nothing of the combination. Don't be some. Don't remember muscle, my good seaman. Huh? Now, Mekoba, why'd you do the honors of opening the trunk? How not to expect me? It's a 7-digit number, remember? Quickly now, no time.
Take that!
What? I put the code incorrectly. But the way the there's no 6 for this one. Five 0 3 1 0 4 5. Or is that a 2? Are they 5s or 2s? They're 2s, not 5s. Because it's inverted, they're 2s.
Take that!
What? What the fuck? I can't save it either. What the fuck is this? I put the number incorrectly. Kind of bullshit. That's it. It's open. It's open. Heard the metal, didn't you? Well, Jane, you found me now. Shishiro. Shishiro. I was hoping you'd find you here. You know. But you're not entirely unsurprised, I take it. No, I'm quite. I just wish you were somewhere other way. Wow. Are you ever going to introduce me? Ah, your reputation, Mr. Sholmes. I read stories of your exploits. Excuse me, Madam Mr. Sholmes, but this is Mr. Joki, old friend of traveling companion. Definitely Dick Merkaba. I believe you meant to say your old friend and traveling companion. He made a cowardly decision to flee the country without a word to anyone when things turned sour. I see my reputation precedes me as well. What an honor. Well, Titro, we have to go and explain all this. You know all by now. I imagine that you don't know, of course, is that 3 days ago, the night before we arrived in Britain, an attempt was made on my life here on the ship. By the Reaper of the Bailey. Yes, it's interred. You're the one prosecuted by the Reaper, weren't you? 10 years ago, mind you. I had no idea at that time that the dangerous individual he was. Anyway, when I arrived in London to find the symposium is postponed until God knows when, it became all too apparent to me that I might very well be targeted again. So you decided to flee the capital without a word mentioning about it. I'm afraid so, yes. Of course, I realise now that I really ought to have confided in you. That's somewhat surprising, I must say. What is? Well, first-class cabins aboard luxury ships are a very short supply. It's more likely it's a little hard to believe that this one just happened to be available. So says the protagonist has one colourful short stories. Well, I don't care for your opinion. The cabin just happened to be available. So I purchased the ticket, and here I am. You must have seen yourself of his remnants of the incident in that cabin. You already purchased the ticket before we even docked it over, hadn't you? To prevent anyone else from taking the cabin and seeing the evidence. Is that it? Jerry, you have nothing to say to you. Well, let me have 5 minutes. The ship will set off for its onward voyage to make port again, until late. I'm afraid we must insist you disembark with us at once. You have no jurisdiction over the movements. We have this, Citro. Take it. What is? Subpoena from Old Bailey. You're a man of law. You know what this recommendation is ignoring the documents of this British court would be. You came prepared then, you. Come on, let's go. One moment. What is it, Sholmes? It's over ring its trunk. I found this rather fascinating trinket. What is that, Citro? Can't help you there, I'm afraid. A small component from something. But what? I have no idea. By the looks of his face, I think my genuinely doesn't know. Well, let us pocket it for a small souvenir for our brief souvenir of France. Well, no. I think we've done as much as we can, I'm afraid. The rest will be on your shoulders and your assistant. 3rd of November to the Old Bailey courtroom. Looks like we're finishing the game tonight, I think. Kazuma Sogi. You know, I didn't know you wouldn't lie. But still, there's no doubt that you're holding something back. I know you know more than you're saying. For the past 30 minutes while court has been adjourned, a possible efforts are being expanded. But sadly, Mr. Joki was whereabouts could not be attained. We must accept the unfortunate conclusion that he has already done his deed. Blah. There's no sense of wasting any more court's time. The prosecution calls for an immediate verdict.
Objection!
No, the trial cannot end now. You are a Japanese man, Rosuke. You should know when it lays down your sword. And you should know what never to presume when the battle is won. The court has already been presented with all the evidence it heard from the relevant testimony. There is only no conclusion. The accused is guilty. All relevant testimony, far from it. There is still a crucial witness who the court has yet to hear a single word of testimony. In that case, we will call the witness to the stand at once, counsel. Yes, my lord, tomorrow, if possible. The witness is already on his way. He's scheduled to arrive tomorrow. Who on earth is this crucial witness? Shinjiro Jiroki, the very man allegedly murdered by the Reaper. Judge Yuki, you found him! But the Federation really policing resources, the capital suggests Yuki is already dead. How in the name of God did you manage to find the man? He was located in France during the recess, on the port of Dunkirk. Thanks to one of Mr. Sherlock Holmes' famous deductions. Sherlock Holmes? Dr. Gregson was almost certainly met with Mr. Jiroki on the night of his death, because along with prosecutor Soki, Gregson was on the mission to assassinate the man. Which means that Mr. Jiroki is the sole witness. You can clarify exactly what happened aboard the SS Gorgon on the 31st of October. Well, we're happy that they're too soon to move to the justification point. Prosecution concurs. The court must hear Mr. Jiroki's testimony. No judgment shall be passed until the testimony has been considered. In that case, we hereby call the end of today's... Okay. I'm sorry, Link, you have to wait till next time, because looks like there's going to be another investigation day. In that case, I hereby call the end of proceeding. The court will now reconvene tomorrow. No objections from the other side. No, my lord. No objections, my lord. We'll have to fight another day. By the skin of our teeth. Yeah, so. But it will definitely be the end tomorrow. Or be the end on Monday, I mean. Tomorrow is weekend gaming with Erdno and Cam. Which means that on Monday, we'll finish this game off. And we'll probably, if you have time, build some Legos. With that said, thank you everyone for being here. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I'll be back tomorrow same time for some. I think we're still doing Tribes of Midgard with two of my friends. Until then, I'll see you all next time. See ya!